toy to help children in need this holiday season. To support, visit KidsToKidsToyDrive.com.
And don't forget to bring toys.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
Sit down. Okay. You're a United States Senator.
Active. Washington is filled with some real wizards, all right.
Puts it on the floor, spins down the lane, and plunges it through once again.
All right. The basketball team. It's the Bucks and the Wizards. With our coverage of the game starting tonight at 5:30 on your home of the Milwaukee Bucks. News Radio 620, WTMJ Milwaukee.
Good afternoon, 12 o'clock. We have cloudy skies, 46 degrees. A chance for rain later on today with a high of only 48. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. That lockdown at Franklin High School has been lifted. Earlier this morning, the school had been placed in full lockdown. Other schools in Franklin were able to continue classes in a secured hold. Franklin police expect to have a detailed statement about what was going on later today. We're also gathering more information on that police situation that closed I-94 eastbound. A report of shots fired. The highway is open after it was closed in Waukesha County. We'll keep you updated on both those stories right here on WTMJ. Investigation underway after a 10-year-old girl was killed and an elderly woman placed in critical condition after a fire on Milwaukee's northwest side. A resident of the apartment tells TMJ4.
It's like a family around here. No Thanksgiving dinner, no Christmas, and now they're all displaced. And that it kind of chokes you up.
Chief Aaron Lipsky says crews encountered hoarding conditions which initially hampered their ability to fight the fire. Blaze was one of three Milwaukee fires crews battled in an hour-and-a-half span on Sunday. Tragedy at UW-Platteville, where the athletic director passed away suddenly over the weekend. Dr. Christina Navarro-Krupka was not only the AD but also assistant chancellor. The school's chancellor says Navarro-Krupka died unexpectedly during pregnancy, leaving the university in shock and sadness. Navarro-Krupka grew up in Madison before graduating from UW-La Crosse in 2006. Lawyers for former President Donald Trump argued today against restrictions on his speech imposed by the judge presiding over his federal election interference trial.
Arguing for the former president, attorney John Sauer said the judge's order unconstitutionally restrains Donald Trump's speech.
It does so in the context of a hotly contested campaign for the highest office in the United States of America.
The order blocks Trump from targeting prosecutors, witnesses, and court personnel. Appeals court judge Patricia Millett expressed her concern over an order protecting prosecutors from Trump's criticism.
It seems to me sort of a very troubling lack of balance on the free speech side on the part of the prosecution in this case.
No telling when the three-judge panel will rule. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
President Biden's birthday is today. At a White House event, he joked about it.
I just want you to know it's difficult turning 60. Difficult.
At the annual Thanksgiving tradition, Biden pardoned two turkeys, Liberty and Bell, allowing the birds to be sent to a farm rather than someone's dinner table. Still many tributes coming in to the family of former First Lady Rosalind Carter, who died Sunday at the age of 96. She married Jimmy Carter in 1946. They were married for 77 years. Jimmy Carter, the former president, is 99. Nearly 200 band members from Greendale High School are in New York City today, preparing to march in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
What worries you most?
Messing up.
Senior drummer Ben Wimmer says the prospect of being on national TV and marching in front of millions live on Thanksgiving is what he's most excited for.
Right now, you can only kind of think about what 3.1 million people sounds like, but actually seeing it in person, I think, is going to be super cool.
5 busloads of students, directors, and chaperones rolled into Manhattan Monday night. Vince Vitrano, WTMJ News.
The Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade airs on TMJ4 locally starting at 8:30 on Thanksgiving morning. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 179 points, the S&P 500 up 27, and the NASDAQ Composite is up 135. The Annex Wealth Management Year-End Tax Planning Guide is here. Download yours at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 12:04.
This report sponsored by Mr. Holland's Heating and Air Conditioning. Visit MrHollandsHeatingandAir.com.
Okay, I confess, I'm guilty. A jury of my peers would, no doubt, find me guilty of moving too fast, doing too much, and spending way too many days, hours, and minutes trying to get to the next big thing. And when I am only focused on I, me, and myself, I miss out on the special moments with her, him, them, and you. I'm guilty. And maybe you are too. And maybe right now is the time for all of us to slow down so that we can rest, recognize, and reflect on the good things in our lives. Our health, our jobs, our homes, security, sunshine, fresh air, food, running water, electricity, furnaces and air conditioners, neighbors, friends, and family. Oh, and bacon. We should definitely be thankful for bacon. The verdict is in. This year, may we all be found guilty of gratitude and sentenced to life. Happy Thanksgiving from Mr. Howland's Home Services.
If you can't get a good night's sleep, let me ask you, are you breathing well? Because if you're snoring or waking up each night with a stuffed up nose, or frustrated with your CPAP mask, the root of your sleep problem lies in your breathing triangle. And if any one of those passages isn't working, you won't sleep well. And there's no mattress, pill, or other gimmick that can fix that. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. A recipe for a good night's sleep starts with an open airway. Now, there are devices that can help solve snoring or sleep apnea problems. If you walk into a sleep center, know you'll walk out with a CPAP. And you might find other options elsewhere, but the simple truth is, if your nose doesn't work properly, no device will help. Only at Advent will you find every effective snoring and sleep apnea solution, along with a world-class team that can get your nose working properly again.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update.
Jordan Love threw for 322 yards, including a 24-yard touchdown in the final minutes of the game to give the Green Bay Packers a 23-20 victory over the LA Chargers on Sunday afternoon.
Love, Watson, open, Watson, got it! Touchdown, Packers!
Next up for the Pack is a Thanksgiving matchup in Detroit against the Lions on Thursday. Over to the NBA, where the 9-4 Milwaukee Bucks have won 4 straight games and are back to work tonight in Washington following their Saturday night win over the Dallas Mavericks. The Bucks tipping off against the Wizards tonight. That's all set for 6 p.m. And lastly, the college hoops around the state, where the number 4 ranked team, the Marquette Golden Eagles, will tip off for their first game of the Maui Invitational tonight against UCLA. Tip-off time is set for 10:30. You can tune in to 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, beginning at 10 for full coverage. And the Badgers will get their Fort Myers tip-off underway with a 5 p.m. tip-off against Virginia tonight. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at your roads with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. We are back to normal on I-94. The eastbound lanes were closed due to a police situation this morning, but those delays have cleared up. The highway is open again. The only problems right now, I-43 southbound Brown Deer Road to downtown, about an 11-minute drive. Normally, it's going to take you about 14 minutes due to those ramp closures in that construction zone.
Traffic is sponsored by TaybackAttorneys.com. Social Security benefits denied? Call Tayback for the payback. Unable to work due to health problems? Let Tayback help you get approved for the Social Security benefits you're entitled to. Call Tayback for the payback. TaybackAttorneys.com.
WTMJ 5-day forecast. Look for a few sprinkles later on. High this afternoon, 48. Cloudy, breezy, rain likely tonight with a low 40. Rain, maybe a mix of rain and snow tomorrow with a high of 44. Sunny Wednesday, 47. Thanksgiving Day, sunshine and 46. Sunshine on Friday. Cool temperatures, though, with a high of only 40. Right now, Madison's at 44, Green Bay 45, and Milwaukee 46 degrees. I'm Connie Weber. Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 12:08.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue, it's the Jeff Wagner Show. Come join the conversation on the Old National Bank talk and text line at 855-616-1620. Old National Bank. Get old. Now, here's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Welcome to the show. So glad to have you with us. Well, never mind. Remember a couple of years ago, in a nod to wokeness, Major League Baseball decided to pull the All-Star game from Atlanta. Remember? And they sent it to Denver. And the reason they decided to pull it from Atlanta was because you had some of these woke activists that were out there talking about, hey, these new election laws that were coming in place in Georgia. And you had the Democratic Party and President Biden talking about how, these rules are going to be like Jim Crow 2.0, all this type of stuff. So in a nod to wokeness, Major League Baseball said, we're going to pull the game from Atlanta and we're going to send it to Denver. Now, of course, the irony of this was Atlanta is a majority-minority city. So by pulling the Major League Baseball game there, what did you do? Did you change the laws at all? No. And you also hurt economically a city that is majority-minority and sent it to a city that's predominantly white, like Denver. But Major League Baseball wanted to be woke. Major League Baseball wanted to align with the forces of wokeness. We want to show that we're down with the struggle. Well, of course, what ended up happening is, if you've looked at Georgia elections since those laws went into effect, that voting has skyrocketed. As a matter of fact, voting has skyrocketed, and all these things about Jim Crow 2.0 turned out to be nothing more than political propaganda. I bring this up because late last week, the commissioner of baseball, Rob Manfred, announced that the All-Star game is going to be in Atlanta in 2025. This is 2 years after he moved the game. What has changed? Nothing. Nothing. It's the laws in Georgia are no different now than they were a couple years ago after they tightened up vote by mail and voter ID rules. So the justification for pulling this was, this is terrible, it's Jim Crow 2.0, and now that the furor has died down, and it turns out that this was nothing but political propaganda guppied into by the guy that runs Major League Baseball, well now, okay, they're back. And I guess this is the bigger point. The Wall Street Journal makes a point of this in its editorial. They say, look, the leagues flip-flop. Major League Baseball saying, okay, no, we're not going to let Atlanta have this baseball game because we want to stand up. We are down with the struggle when it comes to voting. Well, the flip-flop shows how easily big American businesses can be swayed to bend to progressive political panics, no matter the fact. The question the Wall Street Journal asks is, will Rob Manfred apologize to people in Georgia in general and people in Atlanta in particular? My guess is no, that's not going to happen anytime soon. As long as we're talking about the whole concept of wokeness and go woke, go broke. For a couple years, one of the really hot things on Wall Street has been this ESG investing, which is the ultimate in wokeness. It stands for environmental, social, and corporate governance. And you will remember there was a move that was being pushed by the Biden administration to allow money managers to take your retirement funds and your pension funds, and instead of being concerned with what's the ultimate return, what's going to do best for their clients, they would be allowed to put money into these ESG sort of funds. We're anti-tobacco, so we're not going to invest in tobacco. And we're anti-hard liquor, so we're not going to invest in that. Or, this company doesn't submit and doesn't go along with all these sort of woke policies, so we're not going to invest in that. And there was this push to say, okay, instead of just being concerned with the results. Now, I don't know about you, but when I look at my, retirement funds and things like that, my 401k plan, I want to see a return on that. And I want the people who are making those investments to be concerned with one thing and one thing only, and that is, what are the investments they can make that are going to get me the greatest return? Instead of, I have some money market manager has a particular sensibility, and so they're going to invest in that. Well, anyhow, this ESG investing was really hot as people wanted to pour money into this. Let's feel good about these things. Well, how did that work out? What's the phrase? Go woke, go broke. Story in the Wall Street Journal today. The ESG craze is fading. Investors pulled more than $14 billion from sustainable funds this year. And apparently what's happening is a lot of the investors are finding that this rush to these funds, they weren't that good of funds. And you were missing out on a lot of opportunities, which was costing clients a bunch of money. The third quarter was the first time more sustainable funds were liquidated or removed the ESG criteria from their investment practices than were added. And this is a reversal from not long ago when you had, companies that were rebranding funds to try to cash in on millions of billions of dollars flowing into sustainable investment products. Go woke, go broke. Who would have known? Oh, yeah, everybody. When we come back, Let's talk about a Packers player and his father and the father's use of social media. It's an interesting story. Stick around.
WTMJ Now with Steve Scafidi.
If somebody tells me one more time that they like the fact that so-and-so is a bully and tough, this is what we're going to get. We're going to have brawls in the Senate hearings. That's not leadership, folks.
Get the latest news. Hear the opinions. All in Wisconsin.
I don't think I heard the term, oh my God, as much as I've ever heard on that flight going, oh my God, oh my God. Like, shut up.
Weekdays from 9 to noon on WTMJ.
Now, about your house. Eric Brown is the president of Siding Unlimited, your contractor for new windows, roofing, siding, decks, and a whole lot more. He knows about your house. So what do you know, Eric?
New windows? Where do I begin? It seems everyone is staking claim that their window is the best. Let's talk about 4 characteristics of windows that are important: energy efficiency, aesthetics, operation, and installation. If their window is the best, these qualities should stand out. Living in Wisconsin, energy efficiency is important for your comfort and your wallet. While many companies want to focus on glass ratings, we can't forget that air infiltration is just as important. You can have the best glass in the world. It is useless if wind is whistling around it and you're losing money out the window. The best window should look amazing. When comparing and contrasting, so often the less attractive windows have wider, bulky frames and hardware that looks like an afterthought. If you are seeking the best, then narrow, sleek frames that look beautiful as well as maximize the glass space will give you a gorgeous window that allows more natural light into your home. How easy do your windows operate? Are they tough to clean or even impossible to open? How they operate is very important for the best windows. The best windows are easy to clean and easy to open. True professional installation will assure your windows perform and operate fantastic. The best product in the world will not perform if it is installed wrong. Siding Unlimited's showroom is open so you can see, touch, feel, investigate your window choice. We offer the best windows and can prove it. Stop on by. Siding Unlimited is an easy place to begin.
Local and family-owned Siding Unlimited. 3-time Pella Windows Platinum Elite Certified Contractor of the Year. And not just here, in the whole USA. Get the best windows installed by the best installer. Go first and directly to sidingunlimited.com.
Back for more. Here's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner.
So very glad to have you with us. Social media is an outstanding thing. A lot of times I've been doing these interviews as I'm getting ready to leave WTMJ, and I've been doing these interviews, and one of the questions I get asked by a lot of the national publications is, what's some of the biggest changes that you've seen in the way you prepare your show and do your job over the course of the last 25 or 30 years? And I say without question, it's the internet is the biggest change. Cell phones would be number 2. But the access to information that you have, instead of running around and trying to grab a couple newspapers in the morning and see what's out there, and then just watching the television news. With social media and the internet, you have the opportunity to just research issues from not just locally, not just statewide, not just all over the country, but all over the world, and you have the chance to find such a wider variety of topics than you did before, and actually kind of get to the bottom of them. So that's interesting. Also, along with social media, you get the opportunity for feedback that comes along with it. One of the things, and I tell this all the time to people who are starting out in, well, whether it's this job or TV or whatever. And one of my first big pieces of advice is never, whatever you do, just never read the comments. Just never read the comments, because it's human nature you can have 100 people, 99 people that are telling you that you are the greatest thing since canned beer. And you can have one person, some troll sitting in their underwear in mom's basement, who writes a nasty thing. And it's just human nature to obsess on that one nasty thing. And you forget about the 99 other people that just absolutely love what you're doing. And there's people who thrive on that. And so my advice to people who are starting out in this job is just don't read the comments. Just, that's what you've got delete buttons for. That's what you can block people for. You don't need that. Just, be true to yourself. You don't need that kind of stuff. But at the same time, you have to understand that's one of the things that comes with the territory, which is always why, whoa, did you see what so-and-so said? No, I didn't, because I don't care what so-and-so said. But inevitably, it's people want to react to this, which brings me to this story in the local paper over the weekend. Now, the Packers, Green Bay Packers, and the big win yesterday, you could argue that it was a lucky win, but a win is a win. Still can't believe that guy who got behind the defensive back and just dropped the ball with 20 seconds left. It's like, oh, okay, but a win is a win. I think going into this season, nobody thought the Packers were going to go to the Super Bowl. You've got it's Jordan Love's first year. You've got a very, very young team. It's in a rebuilding mode, and so that's why they've lost a few close games. I think that they've been competitive, but nobody expected they were going to go to the Super Bowl. Nevertheless, sports fans in general are rabid. Sports fans, and in Wisconsin, everything centers around the Green Bay Packers. That's the truth. You learn this early on that the two most important things in Wisconsin, politics is important, quality of life, crime, it's the Packers and it's weather. Those are the two things. And basically everything else is a filler between the Packers and weather. That's kind of it. So people have very, very strong opinions. Christian Watson, second-year wide receiver, looked to as maybe the second coming of Jerry Rice. Maybe that's fair. Maybe that's not fair. But, he's had kind of a rocky start. He's been hurt a lot. He's had some key drops at times. And there are some people out there who think that he's been underperforming. Okay, you can decide for yourself. I don't do the sports commentary. But here's what happens. According to the local paper, his dad, whose name his name is Tajim Wajed, born Tim Watson, and he's very, very active on social media, and he resents the fact that his kid has been the butt of criticism by Packers fans for, at least in the mind of several people, underperforming. So after the Packers lost last Sunday, he issued a couple lengthy blasts on Twitter or whatever. Here's some of the things he said. What amazes me about this Green Bay Packers fan base, and some of you reporters, quite frankly, is the fact that this team, which is literally the youngest in the NFL, was not expected to even compete this season, yet have found to be away in every game. You all are about as bad as it gets, and I played in Philly with their schizophrenic fans. He said Packers fans were awful to Aaron Rodgers when he took over for Favre, and pretty much any time he wasn't perfect on the field. You wanted Davante Adams to be cut by his second season, and you somehow think you deserve better than what this team is. You all don't deserve a damn thing but to support the players who are out there playing their butts off if you choose to be fans. And then he goes on, to say, look, he recognizes that fans have a right to be upset with their teams. However, he says, some levity and real-life reasoning comes with your choices. These teams are human beings with families. There will be frustration. Young players need the time to develop. And essentially he's saying, stop ragging on my kid. Our number is 855-616-1620, which is the Old National Bank talk and text line. Now, I sent out a tweet after I saw this story because I understand why Dad is upset. Dad probably doesn't like, Dad probably drives Dad nuts if he listens to the sports talk radio shows after, the Packers lose, sometimes after the Packers win, and, his kid is being singled out as being an underperformer. So I understand why that gets frustrating. And I'm sure it gets frustrating to go on and, obsess yourself with, what people are saying on different websites. I'm sure that's incredibly frustrating. But here was my comment on Twitter, and you can follow me. It's at Jeff Wagner Radio. My advice to Christian Watson's father is to get off social media and not go back. Obsessing with what people say on websites, especially if you're thin-skinned, is a waste of spirit. Plus, the kid makes a bunch of money and criticism comes with the job, which I think is the other thing. If you choose to be a professional athlete, you've got to realize that there's going to be all those armchair quarterbacks, and there's going to be that fan base, and if you don't perform up to expectations, you got to anticipate, whether it's fair or not, that you're going to get this criticism. And I guess my feeling is Mom and Dad weighing in this fashion, it's not helpful. all it does is feed the fire, because now every time the kid has a bad game, and there will be bad games, there's no question about it, it's just going to be more and more fodder. 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. Jeff, I'm with you. Christian Watson's dad needs to get over himself, find a new hobby. Jeff, I totally agree. Step away from the social media sites. See, that's the point of all this. You're not going to win, and that's what I would say to his dad. Okay, I understand. Nobody likes to see people. Nobody likes to be criticized by other people. That's just human nature. And I'm sure from the perspective of a mom or a dad, you don't like to see your kid criticized. But you're not going to win this battle. And so by engaging, all you do, I think, is at least make it worse. And I take no position at all whether the criticism is fair or unfair. Just this is what happens when you choose, in this case, to be a professional athlete who's going to make a ton of money. That's what comes with this. Players get criticized all the time. Michael Jordan got criticized. LeBron James gets criticized. 855-616-1620. We discuss in a moment.
More Jeff Wagner right after this.
Looking for a fun family activity to get in the holiday spirit? Visit or volunteer for Capco's Kids to Kids Toy Drive in Grafton on Saturday, December 9th.
It's a totally free event. Capco is dedicated to bringing communities together and has collected nearly 300,000 toys through Kids to Kids.
Join us in WTMJ for a celebration of giving and bring a new unwrapped toy to help children in need this holiday season. To support, visit kidstokidstoydrive.com. And don't forget to bring toys.
Major phone carriers make you sign contracts with rigid data plans to trap you into a kind of forced phonogamy. Sounds pretty insecure if you ask me. At Consumer Cellular, we believe in a more consensual and healthy form of phonogamy, free of contracts and more flexible to your data needs. This way, you stick around not because we force you to with contracts and fees, but because you love our phone plans. Like ardently love our phone plans. Phonogamously. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Why wait for Black Friday when you can save every day? Hasseless Mattress introduces Black Friday Plus. We've gone rogue and activated Black Friday deals through December 4th on Sealy Posturepedic, Beautyrest, CertaPerfect Sleeper, and more. You get the everyday, way low Hasseless price, plus additional savings, plus free next day delivery, plus free memory foam pillows on select mattresses. Get a Queen CertaPerfect Sleeper Oakmont A mattress. Other stores sell it for $14.99, but our Black Friday Plus price is just $8.88, plus 2 free Remy memory foam pillows. Other stores sell the King Sealy Posturepedic Golden Acres A for $17.99, but you can get it now for just $10.95, plus the free memory foam pillows. Big savings on Beautyrest too, and employee-free, hassle-free showrooms. Not just on Black Friday, but every day. Black Friday Plus, today at Hasseless Mattress. Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you at hasseless.com.
You're listening to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
And again, please understand the point of this topic. It's not to encourage or endorse the internet trolls that are out there. It's just to reflect on the fact that, if you are a public figure, if you're a highly paid professional athlete, for example, you get all sorts of praise, you get all sorts of great treatment, you get all sorts of money, but if you do not perform up to expectations, realistic or not, you're going to be criticized, and that's just the reality. And you have to understand that comes with the territory. So I thought this story was interesting that Christian Watson's father decides to go on social media and just blast all the people that are criticizing his kid's performance. And my reaction to this was, well, first of all, I'd let the kid speak for himself. But secondly, you need to get off. You cannot be thin-skinned. And mom and dad, rather than engaging with this, would I think just be much better off to just say, I'm not going to read any of this stuff, because you're not going to change anybody's minds. All you're going to do is, well, it's kind of like, in a respect, it's like trying to put spats on a pig, because at the bottom end of the day, even if you succeed, you're probably just going to make the pig angry. But even if you succeed, all you've got is a pig wearing spats. So why get into a fight with the people that are out there on the internet? Todd in Watertown. Todd, you're on WTMJ. Hello.
Hello, Jeff. Thank you for taking my call.
What do you think?
For first off, a young man knew when he went into it what he signed up for.
Sure.
And being actually a younger person, they are keen, way keener than me. I'm 58 on social media and how it works and what to expect. And secondly, I hate grouping them all together, the younger generation, but it seems to be a pattern that, the parents coddle them their whole lives. And if there's a problem, instead of him speaking, like you said, speaking for himself,
right,
he has his father do it for him.
Well, and we don't know that. It might be the dad just going, renegade on his own. But the dad, by doing this, doesn't make it any easier for the player. I know he thinks he's protecting his son. All I think he does is he makes it worse. That would be my position.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And making it worse is, maybe Watson didn't know that he was doing it, but since I'm sure his father's done that for him his whole life, that he, instead of maybe communicating with the son about it, he just went off and did it by himself. And it just seems that younger generation of people, like in their late teens, early 20s, they expect to be given the golden ticket. Like there's no.
Well, thanks for the call, Todd. Todd, the bottom line, he does have the golden ticket. He's making a ton of money for playing a game, and that's great. But the thing about sports in particular is that fans are, like I said, they're rabid. They have strong opinions. Now, you can argue that the expectations are too great, and I don't think it's fair to label Christian Watson as a flop or anything like that. I just don't. I think his career maybe it hasn't developed as fast as everybody thought it would have, and maybe he's been injured too often or whatever. But I hope he goes on and has a real he's clearly a very talented guy. But Dad doesn't need to defend him. Jeff, I think a parent should never interject with their kids' employers, and his dad is making it much worse for his son going forward. Yeah, this is, it's not the exact same thing, because he's interjecting with his son's detractors on the internet, which is a whole different story. But yeah, this is like you get with the stories every once in a while where you get, mom or dad that calls up the boss and says, my kid deserves a raise, or, why didn't my kid get promoted, or those types of things. Jeff, Christian might have had a bad game, but his dad responding to trolls online is just throwing gas on the fire and is unhelpful at best. One of our texters says, Dad, your kid makes tons of money. He's in the public eye. I'm sorry. I think he's subject to criticism. Jeff, remember last year he got all the praise. Well, that's that's it. What the internet gives, the internet can in fact take away. Rome, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and thanks for taking my call,
Sure.
Jeff. I've been a Packer fan since the 63, 64, growing up in central Pennsylvania. And I've, been a Rabbit fan, and there's been a lot of times that I have, some criticism of the players. But however, this year, I think that if you are a true Packer fan, and if you're a person that halfway knows football, you'll know that this year's team is the youngest team in the NFL. These kids need the opportunity to grow up. His father should have kept quiet. I totally agree with what you said about throwing fuel on the fire, because with social media, that's all you're going to do.
Right.
But what needs to happen is our fans need to stop being such haters. I think that we have a lot of people that are just naturally hating on this team because of their petty jealousies or whatever. And it always comes up to the fact that, oh, he's getting paid a whole lot of money. They're all getting paid a whole lot of money, but they should not be subjected to all the hating that goes on with some of our fans. Yeah, but I believe that his father should keep quiet.
Yeah, thanks. And that's my only point. That was my only point of this, because I read this story and I think, Dad, you really need to dial it back, because engaging does not make it better. It's not going to change the opinion of the trolls. The trolls aren't going to see your response and go, oh, okay, I see I've had the comes to dawn moment because Dad told me not to pick on his kid. I'm not going to pick on his kid. That's all you do is make it worse in that regard. And again, to Rome's point, I take no position on this. I think the Packers are where the Packers deserve to be. It's a rebuilding team. I think they're a couple years away from being a true championship contender, but that's it. I mean, and I'm not one of these people on social media, sending out the hate tweets and stuff like that. That's not how I roll. But the bottom line is, you got to realize that engaging in this fashion, if you are a public figure or if you're the dad of a public figure, isn't going to make stuff better. So again, I go back to my basic advice, which is, Dad and Mom, kind of just dial it back. And trust me, your life will be just as rich and full if you don't spend time on Twitter looking up, websites and comments where people are talking about, your kid. Jeff, this smells and tastes like a helicopter parent. He's not going to get a lot of support from sports fans. It's the wrong audience. Yeah, you got to. What's the phrase they always say? You have to know the room. You have to know the room, and that's and I'm sure this is one of these difficult conversations to have. But if I'm the kid, it's like, Dad, this just kind of comes with the territory. And yes, these people are know-nothings, and they're it's not worth our collective time. And that's sort of advice that I think, a lot of people might take, when you get the subject to comments and stuff that are on the internet. Just that's what they have delete buttons for, and that's why you block stuff. And who cares? Who cares what Matilda in Ashwaubenon thinks, about, the way you ran that particular route? I'm just saying, it doesn't change your life at all. All right. When we come back, Milwaukee homicide suspect considered armed and dangerous. No kidding. All right. Did the guy just wake up one morning and decide, hey, today's the day I'm going to kill 2 people? I'll tell you that story. Stick around.
Stick around. Jeff Wagner is right around the corner.
Old National Bank.
I just got your home equity loan, and this feeling of joy and exhilaration overcame me.
Yeah, it's a phenomenon we call getting old.
Wow, so I'm not the only one?
No, small business owners feel it with expansion loans. Families feel it when they're setting up trusts and 529s. Nonprofits who need financing to help the community. And anyone who needs investment advice, they all feel it.
So it's not just me?
No, you're in a pretty big club.
Like a club I can join?
I really don't.
Is there at least a secret handshake?
Old National Bank, where relationships and results matter. Old National. Get old. Member FDIC.
'Tis the season for celebrating at St. Kate the Arts Hotel. Join them all throughout the holiday season for special events to get you in the festive mood. From spectacular brunch events to a holiday marketplace to one-of-a-kind dinner and a show experiences, St. Kate has a celebration happening nearly every week through the holiday season. Make a night of it and extend the experience by booking an overnight stay at the hotel. Special packages are now available. Make your plans today to celebrate the holidays with St. Kate. Learn more by visiting stkatearts.com/holidays.
When you're in pain, you're all ears to any and everybody telling you they can help you. And at Rejuvenex, we're one of them. And there are others. But the difference here is that in most cases, insurance covers the cost of our treatments, because our proprietary and powerful pain relief treatments are FDA approved. Others, like bioregenerative options, aren't covered by insurance, because they're not FDA approved and considered experimental. At Rejuvenex, our treatments are precisely administered to where your pain lives, to cushion and lubricate your affected areas to deliver long-lasting pain relief, sometimes as long as 2 years before a next treatment is needed. This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Pain Clinics. We can alleviate your pain, and that'll rejuvenate your life. It's pain relief. Really.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain. Rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
is one of the things that I think some of you might miss when I'm going, because it is, I try to perform a service that for whatever reason, very few people in the media do. And that is the backgrounds on the people who commit or are accused of committing crimes. Because you see these things, you wake up and you see the story, high-speed chase, 2 people dead, guy gets out of the car, runs away, out of the stolen car, runs away, and gets apprehended, then gets charged. And my question is always, how did that person get there? By that I mean, all right, did you just wake up one morning and say, today's the day I'm going to go out, I'm going to steal a car, and I'm going to drive recklessly, and I'm going to flee from the cops at 100 miles an hour, and I'll run through a red light? Did you just wake up and say, today's the day I'm going to do it? And my point is, in doing that is most of the times, no. Most of the times what happens is you have people who have been committing crimes gradually more serious, and they haven't been treated with the severity that they should. And yet we don't get that kind of coverage that's out there. It's always like people are starting anew. And you're never going to change a system unless you realize and unless we recognize the fact that most people out there, most of us, are law-abiding citizens who don't run from the police and don't commit crimes and aren't carjacking people and stealing cars and things like that. The truth of the matter is the vast majority of crimes are committed by a very small percentage of people. And in many cases, it's recidivists. It's people who are committing the crimes over and over and over and over and over again. And yet we continue to give them chance after chance after chance. And that's why I think it's important to look at the backgrounds of people who are accused of crime. So this is the story. The headline got my attention. This is the way Fox 6 reported. Milwaukee homicide suspect considered armed and dangerous. Milwaukee police are looking for a suspect considered armed and dangerous in connection to a homicide, that would be a murder, that took place on Sunday, November 19th. Milwaukee police are looking for a suspect considered armed and dangerous in connection with a homicide that took place on Sunday, November 19th. Police identified the suspect as Quran, Q-U-R-A-N, C. Roby, and said the homicide occurred near Center and 33rd just after 2 a.m. Sunday morning. During an argument, police say Roby fatally shot another person. He is also wanted in connection to a shooting that occurred near Appleton and Capitol on Saturday. Police said not to approach him as he might be driving a silver Ford Escape with a license plate. Okay, so here you have a guy who is wanted for a 2 a.m. murder Saturday night, Sunday morning, and he's wanted in connection with another shooting that occurred near Appleton and Capitol on Saturday. Now, again, they haven't even arrested him. He's on the run. But I became curious. I thought, okay, all right, Quran C. Roby, was this his first time at the rodeo? Is this a guy who just woke up one day and decided, hey, I'm going to go out and commit a murder? Well, all right, so that's the beauty of Wisconsin Circuit Court access. For anybody who has access to a computer and a little bit of time, you can track this down. So I decided to look up Quran C. Roby to decide, is his activities this weekend, is it his first time at the rodeo? So now these are only the cases that these are not juvenile cases. These are only the adult cases. So Roby, who was born in 1996, July of 1996, which makes him, 27. I get 27. That's my math. Okay. So his first contact, at least conviction, January 6th, 2014. He is charged with battery, disorderly conduct, criminal damage to property, domestic abuse. He pleads guilty to 2 misdemeanors, and he is sentenced, let me see, let's pull this here, January 2015, when he was born in 1996, so, that's, you can do the math there. He is sentenced to 6 months in the House of Correction, together with any other time served. So, okay, so it's a couple misdemeanors, domestic abuse, battery, things like that. Gets 6 months in the House of Correction. That sentence was in 2015. Let me just make sure here. January 14th, 2015. Okay, that's the disposition. All right, well, maybe he learned his lesson. What do you think? All right, probably not. All right, filing date, October 24th, 2017. All right. He is charged with taking and driving a vehicle without the owner's consent, and he's charged with fleeing, eluding officers, causing a bodily harm and property damage. So he's in a stolen car. He flees from the cops when they try to pull him over. He caused bodily harm and property damage by running from the cops. He is convicted of the taking and driving the vehicle without the owner's consent. The fleeing and causing bodily harm, that charge is read in as he is pursuant to a guilty plea. So then let's flash forward to October 9th of 2018, the sentencing hearing. He gets 2 years confinement in the state prison and extended supervision for a year. Okay, well, I mean, maybe that will solve it. Well, not exactly, because while he's on bail, awaiting the disposition of this charge, he gets another criminal charge, attempted arson of a building and bail jumping. Now, the bail jumping is committing the crime while he's out on bail for the stolen car and causing bodily injury. He is convicted. Pleads guilty to attempted arson of a building and the bail jumping here on October 9th, 2018. So they combined the cases is what they did. For the arson charge, he is sentenced to a maximum term of 10 years in prison, initial confinement 5 years, extended supervision 5 years. So that is on October 9th of 2018, 5 years in prison. Okay? Well, let's flash forward. What was last weekend? Last weekend was the weekend of, it's November 19th. At least by my math, he could not have been out of prison very long. I mean, he could not have been out of prison more than a couple months on these charges. And now he's looking at homicide and he's looking at involvement in another shooting. I bring this up again to make the point that you have, when it comes to these serious crimes, you have I still believe, a small number of people who commit the crimes, but there are these recidivists who do this over and over and over again. Now, in the case of the homicide, now he's finally done something which is so bad that if he is in fact convicted, he's probably going to be in prison for most, if not all, of the rest of his life. But that doesn't change the fact that somebody's dead. It doesn't change the fact that somebody else has been shot. And it's one of these things which is unfortunately completely foreseeable. And it's one of the things that I think we need to continue to focus on. It's not just enough to say, oh, this person has been charged with this case, but what happened? You know, what have they done leading up to this? And in this particular case, you have a guy, and I don't know his juvenile record, but you have a guy who's been pretty much a career criminal. And now, you know, he's accused of murder. If he is convicted of that, he's gone for the rest of his life. But maybe, just maybe, if he would have been gone for a longer period of time on some of the underlying serious behavior he committed, maybe somebody would be alive today. At least, if there's no chance of rehabilitating him, you can at least protect society. That is the story of this latest fugitive, Karan C. Roby, who is considered armed and dangerous. And if you consider him that way, it's not just oh, by the way, he's armed. Felons. We have a law that says felons aren't supposed to have guns. How well did that work? How well did the extended supervision work? Nope, this stuff doesn't work when it comes to these hardcore criminals. Back with more in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner.
More Jeff Wagner right after this.
Created diamond prices
and natural diamond prices
are the lowest you will see in your lifetime. A temporary oversupply of diamonds worldwide has created a fabulous opportunity for you to own a much bigger diamond.
Natural diamonds were born in the earth when the world was new.
Created diamonds were born in a plasma chamber when your love was new. Plasma chambers are fascinating.
Plasma is not a solid, a liquid, or a gas.
Plasma is the rarest substance on Earth, but the most abundant substance in outer space.
The northern lights and a bolt of lightning are the only naturally occurring plasma on Earth.
But in outer space, the stars are all made of plasma. Natural diamonds were born in the Earth.
Created diamonds were born in a star.
diamond prices will never be lower.
If owning a big diamond is on your bucket list,
This is your year for that dream to come true.
You're going to be happy, happy, happy.
Find the Kesslers nearest you
and see our extended holiday hours
at KesslersDiamonds.com.
Home is where the heart is. Family meals, laughter, and warm memories. As your local contractor that's been around for 40 years, J&J Contractors has been helping families create new memories for generations to come by reimagining your kitchen space for baking holiday cookies with the family or opening up your lower level for friend and neighbor entertainment. Whatever the project is, J&J Contractors does it with top-of-the-line craftsmanship. Just Google J&J Contractors to see their reviews for impeccable work and outstanding communication.
Wealth-changing question. Has your advisor created a portfolio based only on your age and risk tolerance? That's simply not good enough. Your money deserves better, and so do you. At Creative Planning, our private wealth managers learn about you first, and then they create a customized plan and portfolio by partnering with our in-house money managers, accountants, and attorneys. Don't settle for a standard portfolio. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
Gruber Law Offices and other business owners help local startups get on their feet on Project Pitch It. Watch it Saturday nights at 10:35 on WISN 12. One call, that's all.
I am a leg man.
Me too.
Hey, I like legs too.
Big curvy ones.
Sleek, skinny ones.
I love a good set of legs.
Like the leg options on the Envy Dining Room Table Collection at Penny Mustard.
Ooh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
The Envy collection allows you to customize your dining room table with your choice of wood, stain,
size, shape,
edge, apron.
And don't forget about the legs.
I love legs that start thick at the top and get more slender all the way down.
Give me curvy and scalloped all day.
I prefer long, smooth legs with a slight taper at the end.
Oh yeah, like the legs on the Benoit table.
You know it.
These legs are made in the USA.
Yeah, the tables are too.
The Benoit table, starting at just $78 a month, with only 1 penny down and no interest till November of 2025 through November 26th at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Better versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
You know, one of the things that comes with the internet is there's this whole new language that's out there about, you know, all the different acronyms like, you know, LMAO, laughing my certain part of your anatomy off, or I am, HO in my humble opinion. You know, those type of things. You got to know what these are, and they're constantly changing and they're constantly emerging. And you got to, if you're going to be on the internet, you got to keep up with this. Well, I have one for something that happened over the weekend. STHH. STHH. Stay the hell home. All right, this is the story. And look, I don't agree with Tony Evers about a lot of stuff, but in this particular one, he's spot on. What happened over the weekend in Madison on Saturday afternoon is you had a group of about maybe 24 at tops, members of this group. They call themselves the Blood Tribe, which is a neo-Nazi group that promotes hardline white supremacist views and openly directs its vitriol at Jews, non-whites, and the LGBTQ community. Okay. So apparently what happened is this group shows up, in Madison and starts walking, down State Street. And State Street, of course, if you're not familiar with that, State Street is a main street that connects the UW campus to the Capitol Square. The group stopped outside the State House near the building's south entrance around noon, where it remained for about 30 minutes, chanting things like, "Israel is not our friend, there will be blood," and shouting racial slurs at bystanders while marching and chanting hateful rhetoric. At least that's the way that this is described in the local newspaper. Videos posted to Twitter show the neo-Nazi group stopped in front of a local synagogue, the fourth oldest synagogue building in the United States, chanting again, hate. And of course, it appropriately, whether it's the governor or whether it's the U.S. senators or politicians or whatever, everybody is saying, well, Evers says neo-Nazis, anti-Semitism, white supremacy have no home in Wisconsin. And of course, in this case, Tony Evers is absolutely 100% totally right. And it's not about, and I say this often, it's not about whether you have a right to do something. All right, you have a right to walk down the street and shout these things. It's whether it's the right thing to do. And the answer is clearly this is not the right thing to do. And you really wonder, now obviously these small bands of people do this because they want to get attention. And yes, they got attention. But it's kind of like the notion of bad publicity. Everybody always says, well, there's no such thing as bad publicity. Well, the only people who say there's no such thing as bad publicity are people who haven't gotten bad publicity. This is the same sort of thing. Okay, so you have like a dozen or 24 of these, lunatics who are out there deciding, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go in front of a synagogue and we're going to yell, anti-Semitic sort of things. Okay, what do you think you are accomplishing there? Do you think that you are saying, oh, you're bringing people over to your side? Why do you do stuff like this? And again, it's not about whether you have a right to do it. It's whether it's the right thing to do. And this is a clearly one. This is an easy one. It's clearly not the right thing to do. And I think people on the right and left, need to, and people with common sense and goodwill, need to condemn this type of stuff. But it goes back to the new internet, the new sort of internet acronym, STHH. Which is the next time this blood tribe decides that they want to wander through the streets of Madison on a Saturday afternoon, it's real simple. Stay the hell home, period. When we come back, Kenosha back in the news, and happy birthday to Joe. Stick around.
Stay tuned. Jeff Wagner returns after this on WTMJ.
Creative Planning presents Rethink Your Money with John Hagenson, Saturday afternoon at 1. Creative Planning is a wealth management firm that believes in a total approach to building wealth that includes taxes, insurance, estate planning, and other personalized elements. This approach allows you to receive advice that is aligned with your unique goals and always in your best interests. Why not give your wealth a second look? Visit creativeplanning.com.
Do you check your savings account and wonder if you're even saving at all? At Town Bank, we view banking differently and actually want to see your savings grow. With our amazing new CD rates, you can now earn even more, so you can sit back and relax. Stop banking the same way, expecting different results, and start earning more. Go to townbank.us/locknewrates or visit a Town Bank branch nearest you today. Bank differently with Town Bank. Member FDIC.
Outdoor living is a cherished experience here, especially in the warm season. Outdoor Living Unlimited is a local, family-owned company that will revolutionize outdoor living at your home. Visualize your home and yard with an in-ground pool, screen room, pergola, patio, pavers, deck, even an outdoor kitchen. Get with Outdoor Living Unlimited and put that dream into action. The honest, reliable artists and craftsmen will be honored to work with you. OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
The holiday season is right around the corner. Give the gift that's hard to wrap, but easy to give. Give them a Steel. Visit your local Steel dealer or go to steelusa.com/gift guide.
Fleet Farm's got everything you need for everyday life. And by everything, we mean top products by your favorite brands. From Blackstone to Blue Buffalo, Carhartt to Cooper, Milwaukee to Muddy, Scott's to Science Diet, DeWalt, Levi's, Purina, Husqvarna, Goodyear, Rapala, Vortex, and a whole lot more. In-store or online, check out all the brands Fleet Farm carries to help make your everyday life better.
Hi, John McGivern here. Did you know Network Health has Medicare Advantage plans that give you $25 a month back towards your Medicare Part B premium? That's $300 a year back in your pocket. Isn't that great? Call 833-7-NETWORK to learn more today. Network Health Medicare Advantage plans include PPO plans with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Network Health Medicare Advantage plans depends on contract renewal. Certain restrictions apply to the Part B giveback. Visit networkhealth.com/Medicare/extra benefits for details.
With all the positive Google reviews continuing to pour in for Rich Lawn's Tire and Service Centers, we want you to know we appreciate you.
You were due for service. We delivered, and then you went the extra mile and wrote a few kind words about the service you experienced.
Yeah, thank you so much. Michael, Glenn, Jeff, Lisa, Carol, Jason, John,
Wait,
Michelle,
hang on a
Ryan.
second, Dad. As fun as it may be to name every single person who's ever left us a Google review, there just isn't enough time. We get 60 seconds, and I'd say we've got about 28 left.
Ah, good point, Courtney.
Listen, we appreciate every last one of you for helping us maintain a nearly 5-star Google rating. And we're going to keep on shooting for the stars, especially when it comes to providing top-notch auto repair service.
Yep, and remember, be safe, buckle up, and hey, always make sure you've got good tread on your tires. Peter, Bruce, Samantha, Kimberly, Nick, Heather,
Oh,
Marissa,
Dad.
George, Jeremy, Diane, Brad, Paul.
Rich Lawns. Your Salvation Army donation shelters the homeless. Share hope today at samilwaukee.org.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Sit down. Okay. You know you're a United States Senator. Sit
Active. Washington is filled with some real wizards, all right.
Puts it on the floor, spins down the lane, and plunges it through once again.
All right. The basketball team. It's the Bucks and the Wizards, with our coverage of the game starting tonight at 5:30 on your home of the Milwaukee Bucks, News Radio 620, WTMJ Milwaukee.
Good afternoon. 1 o'clock, we have 46 degrees, cloudy, breezy the rest of the afternoon and evening. Rain likely tonight with an overnight low of 40. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. Shots fired causing hours of delays in Waukesha County.
94 eastbound closed for 2 hours as a number of law enforcement agencies investigated a shooting near Moreland Road. The Waukesha County Sheriff's Office says that just after 6:30 this morning, they received a call from a driver. That caller saying somebody pointed a gun at them and fired a single shot, hitting their vehicle. No injuries reported from the incident. It's not confirmed whether the shot was from another vehicle, and no motive for the shooting has been released. Wyatt Barmore-Pooley, WTMJ News.
Earlier today, there was a lockdown at Franklin High School. That lockdown has been lifted. The school was placed in full lockdown. Other schools in Franklin were able to continue classes in what's called a secured hold. Franklin police expect to have a detailed statement about what was going on later today. Retailer Dollar General agrees to pay more than $800,000 to the state after overcharging Wisconsin consumers for items on store shelves.
A price verification check of Dollar General's across Wisconsin earlier this year revealed over 600 items were more expensive than officially listed, on average 17% higher. Wisconsin law requires that merchants using electronic price scanner systems refund at least the difference between the posted price and the price charged at the point of sale. In a statement, Dollar General says they've made changes to prevent future violations, including internal price accuracy checks at every store in Wisconsin at least once every 45 days. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Former President Trump's limited gag order in the federal election interference case, the subject of a hearing today in Washington, D.C. During the government's rebuttal, a judge saying that the court must strike a balance between protecting the upcoming trial and political speech.
We certainly want to make sure that the criminal trial process and its integrity and its truth-finding function are protected. But we've got to use a careful scalpel here and not step into really sort of skewing the political arena, don't we?
The appeals court has paused the gag order as Trump continues to fight it. His lawyers argue the order violates his First Amendment rights. Special counsel Jack Smith urges the restrictions to protect potential jurors. Negotiators reportedly closing in on a deal to release some hostages on day 45 of the Israel-Hamas war. This comes after intense fighting around another hospital in northern Gaza as Israeli forces expand their assault in the region. On Sunday, 31 premature babies were evacuated from that hospital, but hundreds of staff and patients remain inside. A Menominee Falls school board member calling for banned high school books to return. The district recently removed 33 books from the library due to what Superintendent David Munoz called explicit sexual content and profanity. Board member Carrie Deuce claims the district's process for removing books was not followed. Munoz hasn't responded to any questions about the book removal from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. The confident Packers head to Detroit for a Thanksgiving Day matchup with the Lions, fresh off a big win over the Chargers at Lambeau on Sunday. ESPN Milwaukee's Mark Tauscher says, believe it or not, the Packers could make a run at a playoff spot.
I'm not saying it's a playoff team.
but I'm certainly saying it's not off the table. You can find a way to win one of these next 2 games. A lot of winnable games left on the schedule.
After the game this Thursday, the Packers will host the Kansas City Chiefs at Lambeau Field on Sunday night. A storm in the Midwest causing headaches for millions of Thanksgiving travelers. According to FlightAware, over 1,000 flights delayed within, into, or out of the U.S. today. Forecasters say heavy thunderstorms are moving into the Central Plains after bringing rain to parts of Louisiana, Arkansas, and Mississippi. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 196 points this hour. The S&P 500 up 32. The Nasdaq Composite is up 153. Ready for investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning from a fee-only fiduciary? Go to annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button now. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 104.
This report sponsored by the White Lace Inn, Door County. Order your holiday gift certificates now.
Hi, Dennis from White Lace Inn here. Since 1982, Bonnie and I have been providing comfortable elegance, sincere hospitality, and romantic getaways at the White Lace Inn in beautiful Door County. The White Lace Inn, 18 incredible rooms and suites within 4 Victorian homes, each with a beautiful queen or king-size bed. Enjoy a romantic fireplace and the warmth of a whirlpool for 2. White Lace Inn gift certificates. It's the perfect holiday gift, and it's so easy, you can do it right now from your computer. Go to whitelaceinn.com and take a tour of each room, then click on the gift certificate icon or give us a call. In a few days, you'll receive your gift certificate, which never expires, in the mail along with a brochure to put under the tree. A gift certificate for White Lace Inn. It's a wonderful idea. The White Lace Inn on the Door County Peninsula is open every night of the year. Check out our website now, whitelaceinn.com. The White Lace Inn in beautiful Door County.
Hey, it's 620 WTMJ's Brian D. You know what time of year it is. Snacks around Halloween. Lots of family photos through the holidays. Make sure those pearly whites are looking pearly and white. Go see my guy, Dr. James Michaels at Oconomowoc Dental Care. Whether it's a simple cleaning and exam, a more complex dental procedure, a teeth whitening, or an implant, the team at Oconomowoc Dental Care and Dr. Michaels are going to take great care of you, just like they've taken great care of me. Centrally located between Milwaukee and Madison, the team at Oconomowoc Dental Care is always going to make you as comfortable as possible while you're in the chair and give both you and your family an amazing smile. At Oconomowoc Dental Care, affordable quality dentistry is no longer a dream, it's the reality. Dr. Michael's fantastic and friendly staff can help you out with a no-interest payment plan. We all have to go to the dentist, so don't wait any longer. Go see my guy, Dr. James Michaels at Oconomowoc Dental Care. Call his friendly and caring staff today and make an appointment with my guy, Dr. Michaels.
Jordan Love threw for 322 yards, including a 24-yard touchdown in the final minutes of the game to give the Green Bay Packers a 23-20 victory over the LA Chargers on Sunday afternoon.
Love, Watson, open, Watson, got it! Touchdown, Packers!
Next up for the Pack is a Thanksgiving matchup in Detroit against the Lions on Thursday. Over to the NBA, where the 9-4 Milwaukee Bucks have won 4 straight games and are back to work tonight in Washington following their Saturday night win over the Dallas Mavericks. The Bucks tipping off against the Wizards tonight. That's all set for 6 p.m.
And lastly, to college hoops around the state, where the number 4 ranked team, the Marquette Golden Eagles, will tip off for their first game of the Maui Invitational tonight against UCLA. Tip-off time is set for 10:30. You can tune in to 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, beginning at 10 for full coverage. And the Badgers will get their Fort Myers tip-off underway with a 5 p.m. tip-off against Virginia tonight. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at your roads with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. After a messy morning commute due to that freeway closure, we are pretty much back to normal. The only big delay right now, it's actually not even a big delay, it's just a small delay. I-43 southbound from Brown Deer Road to downtown. Normally about 11 minutes. That's going to take you about 14 minutes this afternoon.
Traffic is sponsored by TaybackAttorneys.com. Veterans benefits denied? Call Tayback for the payback. Brave Americans who served shouldn't be denied benefits or have a disability claim incorrectly evaluated by the VA. If you're one of those vets, call Tayback for the payback. TaybackAttorneys.com.
WTMJ 5-day forecast. Sprinkles later on with a high 48 and then cloudy, breezy rain likely tonight with a low 40. Rain early tomorrow, maybe a mix of some snow as well with a high tomorrow 44, mostly sunny Wednesday 47. Thanksgiving Day, sunshine 46. Friday, sunshine and cool temperatures with a high Friday of 40 degrees. Madison's at 45 and Green Bay 44. Milwaukee 46 degrees. I'm Connie Weber, citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 108.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue, it's the Jeff Wagner Show. Now, here's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Welcome back to the show. So our colleague down the hall, Mark Tauscher, says, well, all the Packers have to do is figure out a way to win one of the next two games, which is Thanksgiving Day against Detroit, which, of course, just drilled the Packers at home at Lambeau earlier in the season, or beat Kansas City, and then there could be a way to the playoff. That's all you got to do, figure out a way to do that. With all due respect to my friend Mark Tauscher, that there's some comments that age better than others, and I have a feeling. And look, I'm a Packers fan, and yeah, I guess that's true. I don't know. I'm trying to imagine the scenario where the Packers can figure out a way to beat Detroit on New Year, on Thanksgiving Day, or then beat Kansas City at home. But we all have those. I fully see. It's just with Tauscher's comments. You're going to know in a couple of weeks whether there was any substance to them. See, I fully acknowledge that I am out there because I continue. Somebody asked me today about this. I continue to believe that a year from now, when we were voting for president, we've just completed voting for president, I don't believe Donald Trump's going to be the Republican nominee, and I don't believe Joe Biden's going to be the Democrat nominee. And I understand people roll their eyes and say, no, that's not going to happen. And I get it. I understand that whatever I am going to be doing a year from now, whether I'm doing fill-in radio across the country or doing TV or just, sitting at home, taking this all in. I understand that I have all these comments that are out there that it could be I told you so's. I fully accept that, but I continue to believe that is, in fact, going to be the case. Okay. I want to kind of back into this next topic because it goes back to something I have been saying all along, which is if you cooperate with police, generally speaking, things go the way they should go. If you resist, you almost always make things worse. And here's this classic example of this. This is the story that's all over the news, and now it's the focus of the media, which in some respects I understand because we're all in this let's bash the police and the police aren't perfect type of thing. But in some cases, we miss the bigger point. All right, so this has to do with the couple that was arrested at the Applebee's restaurant. Here's the background on what happened, because you need to have the whole context, because there's really two stories. July 20th, last summer, there's a 17-year-old kid. His name is Jamonte Wright. According to the complaint, what happens is Wright is driving this Honda Civic, and what happens is he smashes into an SUV driven by this woman at this intersection, smashes into it hard enough that the SUV flips over, and the lady has to be taken to the hospital. So the cops come. So you have this hit-and-run accident. Car is upside down. Driver of the SUV has to get hauled to the emergency room. The Civic is abandoned. The keys are in the vehicle, and apparently the abandoned Civic has a strong odor of marijuana. Okay, so the car, the Civic, all right, they've got the plates on it. The police track this down, and they call up the owner of the Civic. And the woman who owns the Civic said, hey, I have no idea where my car is. I've been working, but this Jamonte Wright borrowed my car. So he must have been the driver. The woman in the SUV who was hit and the car rolled over told police that the person driving the Civic left the scene. So flees, involved in this massive collision, flees the scene and takes off. Okay. Somebody calls the police to say that the suspect and others who were in the Civic ran from the Civic and ran into this Applebee's restaurant. Okay, so that's what the cops know. Cops, they've been told, all right, the driver of the hit-and-run accident in the hit-and-run and other people have abandoned their car and they've run into this Applebee's. So that's what the cops know. So the cops then decide, okay, we're going to conduct this investigation. What's the first thing you do? Well, you go into the Applebee's looking for the people. So here's the way this happens there. Pleasant Prairie police go into the Applebee's, search, and don't find any suspects. All right? A couple minutes after they left, the manager at the Applebee's calls the police and says a couple matching the description of the suspects were there. All right? At that point in time, the Pleasant Prairie police returned to the Applebee's along with Kenosha police. All right, at this point in time, at a table inside a restaurant, there's a couple with their child. The investigation says that the Pleasant Prairie police say, well, we don't think these were the two. But the Kenosha officers say, well, we're going to go and we're going to question them based on what the manager had said. So what happens is the Kenosha police go up to this couple who's sitting with their kid and they're eating, and they start asking them a series of questions, including essentially they say, what are you doing here? They say, hey, we're just eating. They say, okay, what car did you arrive in? Because they're looking for somebody that ran. The guy at that point in time says, look, I'm not going to answer questions. And the police are saying, what car did you come in? Come on outside with us. Show us that it's your car. And then this ends the whole thing. And the guy refuses to do that. At that point in time, he tries to walk away. And then this whole thing escalates. And the guy is taken into custody and he's taken down. And there's a video of a police officer as he's struggling with the police officer. The police officer hits him in the back a couple times. And they're trying to pull the kid away because the guy is using the child as a shield. Well, as it turns out, the person responsible and others for the hit and run, they're hiding in the bathroom. And the guy and the lady at the table with the kid, they really had nothing to do with this, except the fact that they're not cooperating with the police. They're not identifying themselves. They're not saying, okay, look, this is not me. That's my car out there, and they're refusing to cooperate, and the whole thing escalates. Well, now what's happened is the two police officers from Kenosha that were involved in this investigation, they've both been suspended for, one I believe was suspended for 10 days, one was suspended for 4 days in connection with, well, they say that they violated the department's mission, vision, core values, use of force, safe operation of department vehicles, general rules and regulations, and police reports. So the two officers are found to have used like excessive force in the way that they handled this because they had the wrong people. The right people, as it turns out, were hiding in the bathroom. But the police did what they did based on the information they found. And of course, the way this story is being portrayed in the newspapers and on the, in TV is, of course, and the story and the hang-up is, okay, excessive use by police. Look at this, and they were pulling the guy, and they were trying to pull the kid away and stuff. And I guess I don't want to defend the police per se, but none of this happened. I guess I have 2 points. Number one, none of this happens if the couple that are sitting in the Applebee's restaurant cooperates. I mean, just cooperates and says, this is who I am. Hi, I'm Jeff Wagner. You want to see some identification? Here's my driver's license. Okay, Mr. Wagner, we're wondering, you match the description of somebody who was involved in a hit-and-run accident. No, that's not my car that's turned over and crashed in the intersection out there. I showed up in a 2017 Honda CR-V. That's my car sitting in the parking lot. Here are my car keys. Here, let's go show you. I'll prove to you that it's my car. And boom, the whole thing stops right there if you just cooperate with the police. Just a little bit of cooperation. But instead what happens is, okay, no, I'm not giving you my name. I'm not working with you. I'm not going to identify. And then it starts to escalate. And again, I'm not in a position where I'm telling you that I think the police handled this perfectly, because obviously they've both been suspended for a short period of time. So that tells me that they didn't. But the whole thing, none of it happens. None of it happens if you just cooperate with the police. That's point number one. Point number two, which has gotten lost in all the coverage of this, which is focusing on the conduct of the police. Oh, the police did this and they tried to take the guy down, is the fact that what started this whole thing? Where is the outrage over the 17-year-old driving the car that smashes into and damn near kills the woman driving the SUV, and him and his low-life buddies who flee? They were arrested in the bathroom. Apparently, they found like a bottle of tequila and all this sort of stuff. But that where is the outrage about that started the entire thing? Our number is 855-616-1620, which is the Old National Bank talk and text line. Look, and I take no position again on whether or not the suspensions of the police officers are appropriate or not. It sounds like, once this thing started to escalate, they they should have backed off. But it doesn't happen. None of this happens if the couple that's eating simply cooperates. Yeah, you want to know my name? This is my name. What car did I arrive in? Sure, it's the car that's out there. You do all this, none of this happens. You don't have to worry about, okay, there's this struggle with the police officers and somebody gets taken down. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. It all goes away simply by cooperating. And again, I'm not applauding, the seems to me that the Kenosha police officers made several mistakes in this regard, but none of it happens, number one, if they cooperate. Number two, as long as we're going to be outraged, what about the 17-year-old punk that did this whole thing in the first place and ran from the police? Are we outraged about that? 855-616-1620. I mean, who wants to be a cop nowadays? We discuss in a moment.
More Jeff Wagner right after this. Your weekly Bucks breakdown is back.
They want to win equally as bad as I do.
Bucks Weekly on WTMJ.
Now he joins a team where you have, as he has put it, the best player in the league.
And a new year brings new faces.
You'll see that I've gotten better year after year after year after year.
Get the latest news, analysis, and insight on your Milwaukee Bucks all season long. Bucks Weekly with Justin Garcia every Monday night at 8 on WTMJ. And catch the podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
The average 30-year fixed rate is the highest it's been in 23 years. But low overhead AccuNet still has some special 30-year fixed rate money for first-time Wisconsin homebuyers at a rate of 6.625%. That's right, 6.625 on a 30-year fixed with an APR as low as 6.8 with as little as 3% down. Household income limits apply and vary by household size and the county in which your new home is located. Now, you might be thinking this is too good to be true, but it is true, and it gets even a little better. AccuNet can also provide a 10-year fixed second mortgage at an APR of 6.625 to cover the minimum 3% down payment and closing costs. First-time buyers in today's market have an advantage. You don't have a home to sell, and the housing market is a little less competitive all of a sudden, too. Hear that sound? That's opportunity knocking. Answer the door and click on the blue button today at AccuNet.com for your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval. That's ACCUNET.com.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Pain relief and gimmicks. The two seem to go hand in hand, and it really is a shame, because when you're living with chronic pain, you're vulnerable. And that's why so many people get tricked into buying unproven treatments. At Rejuvenex, we understand how you suffer, how you wait to get out of bed because you know the pain is coming. Chronic pain from osteoarthritis is a terrible thing. And that's why we use our proprietary, powerful, FDA-approved treatments to precisely target your affected areas, to provide cushion and lubrication that helps deliver long-lasting pain relief in shoulders, hips, elbows, and knees. I'm Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Pain Clinics. We're in-network with most major insurance plans, including Medicare and Medicaid. We can alleviate your pain, and that'll rejuvenate your life. It's pain relief, really.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
855-616-1620. Mark in Milwaukee. Mark, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What I'm saying is, I agree. If they would have cooperated, this never would have happened. First of all, it's neither here nor there, but I would have probably checked the bathrooms first if I was a police officer. Second of all, as an attorney, they don't have to answer those questions. They were perfectly within their rights. They don't have to. And if you ever get pulled over, your attorney tells you don't answer any questions.
Okay, but tell me why you wouldn't. In this particular case, you're right. They don't have to answer questions. But you're sitting there. No. You're having dinner. police come in, they're investigating, this hit and run thing. Why wouldn't somebody say, okay, this is who I am, and yeah, that's the car I came in. It's out there in the parking lot, and then the whole thing ends. I guess that's my only point. Why? What did you get from not cooperating?
You don't get anything from not cooperating, but that's the law.
Well,
I mean, they're within the law. I mean, I know you don't get anything without cooperating, but that's their rights. This is from our forefathers. This just didn't happen overnight.
Right.
You don't have to answer these questions.
You don't, right, Mark? I understand. You don't have to. You don't have to answer the questions, but that's not the point. But when you decide that you're not going to answer these questions, this is what happens a lot of times when this stuff escalates. And again, I'm not defending the police officer's response after this, but they're conducting an investigation. They're trying to find somebody who was involved in this serious hit and run accident a few minutes ago that had happened a few minutes earlier, and this particular couple, which again the manager at Denny's had called and said, hey, you want to target, these people were acting suspicious or whatever. If these folks, and you're right, they don't have a legal obligation to answer that, but what is the point of simply saying, not identifying yourself and not ending this by saying, officer, I know my car is right out there in the parking lot. Yep, and here, officer, that's fine. Here, you want me to walk out there with you and show you that it's my car, and all they have to do, and then this whole thing ends and it goes away. And you're right that technically under the law, they don't have to cooperate, and then the whole issue becomes: is there reasonable suspicion to detain them, and does that escalate to probable cause? But it's what happens just so often in these situations is that by people just not cooperating with the police. And in this particular case, it's no skin off of anybody's nose to cooperate because they didn't do anything wrong. You would have just made this entire thing go away. Instead, you've turned this literally into a federal case. The people, they get charged with like resisting arrest and fighting with the cops. I don't know where that charge is going to be. The police officers are suspended. And, we lose sight of the fact that what really happened here was you had this 17-year-old and a couple of his low-life buddies who were involved in this hit-and-run accident and fleeing. I guess that's my only point. Did they legally have an obligation to answer these questions? No. But if people would simply do that, especially when you're not talking about any sort of Fifth Amendment issues here, it's not like you're putting yourself at risk. All you're doing is sitting there, you and your girlfriend or wife or whatever, and your kid. All you're doing is having your big breakfast at Denny's or whatever. If you just cooperate, none of this other stuff happens. 855-616-1620. Randy in Algoma. Randy, you're on WTMJ. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, this is Randy from Algoma.
Yeah.
I disagree with that first caller. Yes, I agree. You're completely within your right, but yet just this respect of those in authority. And I think, as you pointed out, the outrage should be with the 17-year-old, who obviously does not have respect for those in authority, whether it be police officers, teachers, community leaders, and most likely with his parents. So I believe a lot of it starts right at home with the parenting.
Yeah, well, again, I mean, I don't want to go take too much of a macro approach on this, but the point I've been making ever since this incident first occurred is none of this stuff happens. None of the police officer pulling and the guy trying to hold on to the kid. None of this happens if, the police, hey, we're investigating this big bad hit and run that was there. And, who are you? And if that's not your car, would you show us your car? And all they have to do is that, and then everybody kind of moves on. Jeff, I left law enforcement because our administration treated the street cops like criminals and followed the old saying, if you're not doing something wrong, you must be doing something wrong to cover it up. These cops had a right to question and ID these people. That's Terry versus Ohio, the Supreme Court case, is the justification. But this is our society. Fight the cops no matter what, and the department will cave and it won't back the street cops. Then come the lawsuits, and there will be. Oh yeah, I said Denny's. It's Applebee's, right? It is an Applebee's. Jeff, I agree. Whatever happened to cooperation with the police to clear yourself and not ruin the rest of your night? Jeff, it almost feels like people are daring the cops to escalate it. Well, that's the challenge I mean, that's the challenge that you have in this particular situation. And I guess I just see this happening over and over and over again. And it's cases that we've talked about for the last, 25 or 30 years. I've been doing this. And look, I understand. And our first caller, Mark, was correct. You do not have to cooperate with the police if you choose not to. And then the police have to decide, is there a reasonable basis, is there reasonable suspicion to detain you, et cetera. But especially if you've done nothing wrong, what does it cost you to cooperate? This whole thing, like I say, could have been avoided had you merely, engaged in a dialogue with the police for, a minute. This is who I am. No, I was not the guy driving that car. There's my car, period. And that ends the inquiry. Let's talk to, Terry in Milwaukee. Terry, you're on WTMJ.
Hey, so I'll be quick. I think everyone could have handled themselves better. Before I make my point real quick, I want to say that the quicker the quicker a police interaction can end, the better it is for everyone.
Yes.
When you look at all these situations with George Floyd, all of these people, when it just goes on and on and on, it just gets worse and worse and worse.
Yes, it escalates. You're right. It escalates. It escalates. Right.
I would have. Even during traffic stops, if it takes too long, it's like things just start to go wrong. I would have done what you said. Hey, that's my car out there. Here's my keys. I can even hit the button and make the lights go on. That's my car.
Right.
I'm here. And if I was the police officer, I would say, hey, look, man, if you're not the person we're looking for, that means that the person we are looking for is here somewhere, and everyone here could possibly be in danger. And you're here with your family. Wouldn't you just want to help us out real quick? If I was the police, that's what I would have done. I think that the resistance to police action people need to slow down as far as the civilians. I agree with the other guy. Yeah, we don't have an obligation to say anything. It's all right. But, this isn't getting pulled over and you're possibly speeding and you don't want to incriminate yourself. This is like, hey, I'm at a place eating and the cops just showed up. So it might be an active shooter. Something might be going on. Hey, it ain't us you're looking for. Go find the person it is. Here's the help. And I think that the police need to slow down as well and not be so quick to, okay, this is the person, put them in cuffs and let's just throw them in the back of the car.
Yes.
Everyone needs to slow down and have a conversation.
Yeah, no, Terry, thanks for calling. I couldn't agree more. I mean, that's it. And that's why, I mean, I am not criticizing the decision by the Kenosha police to, suspend these officers for, give them a few days on the bricks. I mean, some of the social media, they should be fired. No, they didn't shoot anybody or anything. I mean, but this is just like you're saying, this is how these police-citizen interactions escalate. And you see this all the time. And if everybody would just dial it back, it's not me. I've been here for the last 25 minutes. My wife and I, my girlfriend and I, we're just having our meal. This is who I am. It's not my car out there. My car is in the parking lot. Boom, the whole thing goes away. And then the police, of course, in this case, they should have probably dialed this back and, taken no for an answer. But, I mean, I appreciate also what you're saying. You're trying to find who it's in there. It's just this is one of these things where I don't mean to be sort of namby-pamby about this, but can't we all just get along? Because it's my advice. If you cooperate, you do not escalate. And Terry is absolutely right. Just think of all the things that happen and the bad stuff that happened with police-citizen interactions. And it's normally because there was a decision to escalate that was made by the person that was stopped. And look, and I'm not saying cops are perfect. And yeah, I understand that sometimes you're going to run into that bad cop or that arrogant cop or whatever. But you can always sort that out later. That you can get your lawyer, you can fight the traffic stop, you can do all that stuff. You can always sort that out later. But when you get into that confrontation on the scene, stuff starts to escalate, and that's where bad stuff starts to happen. Susie in Milwaukee. Susie, you're on WTMJ.
Hi, Jeff. I am on the same page with you and your previous caller. Not so much. I don't disagree with the first caller and about the facts of being able to answer questions or having to answer questions. Not. I think you're right. Escalating is the key word. Shut your mouth. Fine. Great. That doesn't help the situation. And to me, that's more for people who are guilty. You shut your mouth until your lawyer gets there and can help you through and answer things without, digging a deeper hole. If you haven't done anything wrong, what is the point of shutting your mouth? I don't get that. I don't get it. Well, I think the couple that got themselves, into unnecessary trouble is just that. You got yourself into unnecessary trouble because you have the right to not speak.
Yeah, but what's,
on your own behalf.
Right, but you're right. But what's the purpose of this? No, thanks for the call, Susie. And I guess that's kind of how I come down. My a couple weeks ago, my wife was a witness of an automobile accident, and it was just one of these deals where she was at a red light in the left lane, and a person in the right lane blew through this red light and hit a car that was pulling out of a shopping center. And thankfully, nobody was injured. Nobody was seriously injured. But, everybody was shaken up and stuff like that. Well, my wife, being the wonderful person that she is, stayed on the scene. And, she was like, okay, I'm going to be a witness. And we got a follow-up call from the police department about things like that. And she said, this is what I saw. The person, in the right lane went through the red light, hit the other person. She stayed on the scene. And it would be like, okay, I'm not going to cooperate. I'm not going to tell you what I saw. Why would you do that? And I don't have an obligation to report this. No, you don't have an obligation, but why not? What do you have to lose by just simply saying, okay, look here, I know you want to find the person that was driving that car, that was responsible for, almost killing that woman. That should be the overall mission. And of course it's not, and this happens all the time. And the focus of this is now on the police response. Oh, they arrested the wrong people. And yeah, I get it. That's what the headlines are. But nobody's asking, why did this escalate in the first place? Like, why didn't you cooperate? Why didn't you just tell them who you were? Why didn't you just show them that you weren't the driver of that car that's in the intersection? And then none of this happens. Back with more in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner, WTMJ.
Stick around. Jeff Wagner is right around the corner.
Vince Vitrano here from Wisconsin's Morning News, reminding you to subscribe to the Wisconsin's Morning News podcast. We update it every day with every segment, every interview, and every bit we do on the show. Wait, we don't do bits on the show.
If my intelligence is artificial, then why am I smarter than you?
Absolutely boat racing.
Let's go. Come on, let's go.
All right, maybe we do some bits.
F you.
Subscribe to the Wisconsin's Morning News podcast wherever you get your podcasts or listen live on WTMJ.com.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scafidi for Omaha Steaks and OmahaSteaks.com. Is there anything better than seeing a box on your porch from Omaha Steaks? I don't think so. I've done this. I've sent it to people. I've received boxes. When you get those great steaks, the great chicken, all the great products from Omaha Steaks, everybody loves that. This time of year especially, fall's in the air, and nothing is better than Omaha Steaks to satisfy all those fall cravings with 50% off their site during the semi-annual sale. Go to omahasteaks.com today. Use promo code WTMJ at checkout. And how about this? Get extra $30 off your order. The possibilities are endless flavor, endless value, incredible entrees, so much more. All of them 50% off during the semi-annual sale. Go to omahasteaks.com. Shop all your delicious favorites for half the price. Don't forget to enter promo code WTMJ checkout for an extra $30 off. Nothing better during the holidays than Omaha Steaks. Enter promo code WTMJ. Minimum order may be required.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus.
If you could spend 1 month anywhere, where would you go?
Easy. I'd go to bed. Specifically, a new Tempur-Pedic from Hasselus Mattress.
Why?
Because I can take 60 months to pay for it. Through Monday, get 60 months interest-free financing on select Tempur-Pedic mattresses, plus a $300 MasterCard gift card.
Hang on.
What are you doing?
Searching for a travel agent to book a month-long vacation at Hasselus Mattress.
Find an employee-free showroom near you or shop online at Hasselus.com.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
You're listening to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Inevitably, there will also be a lawsuit in connection with this. The folks who got into the altercation will sue the Kenosha Police Department and the taxpayers of Kenosha. But none of this happens if people simply cooperate with the police. And I can't emphasize that enough. You get stopped by the police. And look, I'm not saying that the cops are perfect. I appreciate that. And sometimes you get the cops that have got the big ego or cop an attitude or whatever. But the truth of the matter is you take the ticket, you keep your mouth shut, and then you move on. And then you can hire a lawyer and you can do all these types of things. You can unravel that. So many of the bad things happen with citizen-police interaction because people don't comply and they escalate things. That's where you get into the struggles and people get hurt and you get pull out tasers or people get shot or whatever. It's just, okay, cooperate. You can always sort it out. And I'm not saying the police are always right. Believe me, I know they're not always right. But if you resist arrest, if you decide that you're going to engage in a struggle, if you're not going to cooperate, you run the risk of making things just so much worse. I have been thinking about this story. Matter of fact, couple nights ago, I was having dinner in a restaurant, and I ran into a gal who apparently we went to high school together. Now, in my defense, there was 550 people in my high school graduating class, and I didn't know everybody. But anyhow, I walk in and she knew me, and we were just talking, and she said, "Yeah, we graduated from Nicolet together, et cetera." And I'm not sure we knew each other in high school and stuff because she said, she said that she was a jock and I was anything but a jock in high school. That was not me. So I keep meaning to look her up in the high school yearbook. But anyway, we're having the conversation, and it turns out she grew up not that far from where I grew up. And we didn't go to the same grade school together. I went to Green Tree Elementary School, and she went to Good Hope Elementary School in Glendale, Nicolet School District. And then we both went to the same seventh grade school, Riverview, which was the middle school that they closed. We were like the last class of that. And then we got bounced to Glen Hills Middle School. We were there for the first year. So we bounced to all these different schools. But she went to a different grade school than I did. When I was growing up in Glendale, there were 3 elementary schools that the kids went to. There was Green Tree, which is the one I went to, which is, if you want to feel old, they tore down that school a long time ago. They built a hotel on the site of that. They've torn down that hotel and they built a newer hotel. So that really is how you feel old. And then there was like Good Hope, and then there was Parkway. Those were the 3 schools. Well, okay, because enrollments declined, what happens is Green Tree Elementary is no longer there. Like I say, it's a hotel. Good Hope School is, I think it's condos now. But that's long gone. So if you grew up in Glendale, where I grew up, it used to be 3 elementary schools. Now there's only 1. Now I bring this up, and it's just what happened. Changing demographics, fewer kids, the cost of running these schools. It's what happens. So I've been thinking about this because all the folks in Woke-Woke-Tosa, at least many kids who have many parents who have kids at these two of these elementary schools are just absolutely irate because they are at least floating the idea that there are 2 elementary schools, Washington and Jefferson Elementary Schools, that may be closed, not this year, not next year, but because, again, first of all, the physical conditions of the buildings, they're deteriorating greatly. And Wauwatosa passed a referendum where they got a huge amount of spending to upgrade facilities back in 2018 at the expense of taxpayers. But for whatever reasons, the district made the decision that these 2 elementary schools weren't going to get any of the money. They were going to concentrate the money in other areas. Okay, in addition to that, you have school districts that the number of people in the district is not growing. That's just the demographic. The number of kids that are going to these schools is not, in fact, increasing. So you've got aging schools, you've got huge maintenance costs and deferred maintenance and all that type of stuff, and you have a declining school population. So the common sense thing is to say, okay, well, maybe what we need to do is consolidate, and maybe what we need to do is, take the kids at one of these 2 schools and start, sending them to other schools. So instead of having to walk 2 blocks to go to your school, maybe you have to go 4 blocks or whatever. Okay, or 5 blocks. All right, that's an unfortunate thing, just like I'm sorry they closed my elementary school. But I'm listening to all these parents who make it sound like it's the absolute end of the world if the grade school closes. Well, there is this reality that's out there that nothing stays the same. And from a perspective of taxpayer dollars, if it doesn't make any sense to pour an enormous amount of money, and they've already, apparently they made that decision because they got this big spending referendum and they decided we're not going to put the money into these two aging facilities. So if you're at a point where, okay, the number of kids that are going is declining, the cost of maintaining these particular buildings is going through the roof, how can you possibly criticize the school district for at least saying, hey, look, the reality is we might need to close a couple of these schools. And yes, we appreciate that means that, we're going to put, your kid, if you go to one of these elementary schools, might have to walk a couple of blocks extra, or you might have to drive a few blocks extra, to drop them off. But that's just the reality here, that sometimes you have to consolidate. And it's been interesting to me to watch this, because you'd think that for some of these parents, it's just the absolute end of the world that their kids, might have to go a few blocks down the way to another one of these schools. I mean, nothing stays the same. Trust me. Where I grew up in Glendale, it used to be 3 elementary schools. Now there's just one. And you know what? They figure out a way to make it work. Back with more in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here for Excel Concrete Coatings, the local family company that transformed my garage. The floor was cracked and uneven. Excel fixed it, topped it with a beautiful multicolored surface. Garage floor, pool deck, basement, outdoor patio. If it's concrete, they'll coat it. Get a free estimate. You'll be surprised how affordable. Most projects between $1,500 and just $3,000. Look up Greg and Luann at excelconcretecoatings.com. Tell them Vinny sent you. excelconcretecoatings.com.
Fleet Farm's got everything you need for everyday life. And by everything, we mean top products by your favorite brands. From Blackstone to Blue Buffalo, Carhartt to Cooper, Milwaukee to Muddy, Scott's to Science Diet, DeWalt, Levi's, Purina, Husqvarna, Goodyear, Rapala, Vortex, and a whole lot more. In-store or online, check out all the brands Fleet Farm carries to help make your everyday life better.
Set your independence in motion. It starts with PACE at Community Care. The program of all-inclusive care for the elderly, also known as PACE, offers complete medical and long-term care services. A team of dedicated healthcare professionals coordinates all aspects of care to support independent living as long as possible. Learn more about a community that cares. Visit joinpacewi.com or call 833-900-PACE. That's joinpacewi.com or call 833-900-PACE.
Old National Bank.
I just got your home equity loan, and this feeling of joy and exhilaration overcame me.
Yeah, it's a phenomenon we call getting old.
Wow, so I'm not the only one?
No, small business owners feel it with expansion loans. Families feel it when they're setting up trusts and 529s. Nonprofits who need financing to help the community. And anyone who needs investment advice. They all feel it.
So it's not just me?
No, you're in a pretty big club.
Like a club I can join?
I really don't.
Is there at least a secret handshake?
Old National Bank, where relationships and results matter. Old National. Get old. Member FDIC.
Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
I am so very glad to having you spend your Monday afternoon with me. And I was negligent. I did not mention this. We have a lot of people that are watching on our YouTube channel or WTMJ Watch Live, in addition to spoken word, and that's where most people take us in, traditional radio or streaming and stuff. You can also watch us from our Avenue studios and see, in my case, how my wife dresses me on any given day. You can go to youtube.com and just simply put in WTMJ, and you can also go to WTMJ.com and hit the Watch Live button. A number of people do this. I didn't want the program to end without neglecting to mention the passing of Rosalind Carter. Jimmy Carter's wife passed away yesterday at the age of 96. It's an interesting sort of story, and I think you need to separate a couple of things. Jimmy Carter was the president. He beat Gerald Ford. Gerald Ford, going back, Gerald Ford, of course, was the vice president under Richard Nixon, who became president when Nixon resigned. And then you had a very contentious race in 1976. And Jimmy Carter, who was kind of an obscure governor from Georgia, nobody had heard of him, he ended up being elected. Gerald Ford lost. Carter was a one-term president. And hear me out when I say this. I think, Jimmy Carter is generally recognized as one of the least successful presidents. But to Carter's credit, his life since leaving the presidency over the last 40 years, you agree or disagree, he's been devoted to humanitarian causes. I think sometimes some people think he's gone too far with that. And his wife, Rosalind Carter, has been at his side. Just an amazing story. I mean, they were like childhood sweethearts. They were married for 77 years. Can you imagine being married for 77 years? Just absolutely incredible. I have two dear friends, Alan and Patty. They've been married for 53 years, and I'm pulling for them to get another 25 in. I think that might be it. But 77 years, and there's no question that a lot of times you hear this thing about the man behind the woman. Well, there's no question that Rosalind and Jimmy Carter were partners in all sorts of things, and particularly in the post-presidency. And they accomplished amazing, amazing things. And he's been in, I think, home hospice care for the last 6 months or so. And, she's been struggling with dementia. But it really is. It's a love story for the ages. No question about that. And regardless of, again, whatever you think about the success or lack of success about the Carter presidency, I think both of them deserve credit for the way they have behaved over the last 40 years and, the number of things that they have accomplished and the causes they have worked on. And again, I just can't get over the fact that they're married for 77 years, 4 children, 11 grandchildren, 14 great grandchildren. And Jimmy Carter has always said that, she was his equal partner in everything they ever accomplished. And they really were a couple for the ages. So Rosalind Carter, dead at the age of 96, sail on.
More Jeff Wagner right after this.
Hi, John McGivern here. Did you know Network Health Medicare Advantage plans start at $0 a month? And you can get the extra benefits you need, like dental, vision, over-the-counter items, and more? I know because I'm a member myself. Call 833-7-NETWORK to learn more today. Network Health Medicare Advantage plans include PPO plans with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Network Health Medicare Advantage plans depends on contract renewal.
Let's talk for a minute about Gruber Law Offices. David Gruber and I went to law school together a long time ago at Marquette. At Gruber Law Offices, they've been helping people and family who've been seriously injured in accidents. They'll stand up for victims and take the burden off your shoulders. They focus on the legal aspect of things while their clients focus on healing. It's just one call. They handle the rest. Providing the best care, service, and representation is their priority. At Gruber Law, you'll find one of the largest personal injury firms in the Midwest. They're family-owned, family-operated, but nevertheless, they have a large, powerful team with resources to take on insurance companies. They get results that speak for themselves. Like I say, they've been serving the people of Wisconsin for over 35 years, and take it from me, you're not around for over 35 years if you don't get results. Now, here's how it works if you call Gruber Law Offices. There's no cost to call. There's no cost for a consultation, and there's no fee to retain their firm. There's never a fee until they win your case. Like I say, making a difference and helping others in the community for over 35 years. Gruber-Law, you can check them out on the internet. It's gruber-law.com to learn more about the firm and what they do in the community, or you can make that one call, 414-276-6666.
Have you heard about the game-changing jewelry store that's now open just in time for the holidays? It's Diamonds Direct on Mayfair Road in front of Mayfair Mall. Diamonds Direct, started by former diamond wholesalers who decided to stop selling to jewelry stores and start selling direct to the public. No middleman, no nonsense, no pricing games. It's the only store here with a nationwide low price guarantee. And the selection is mind-blowing. Hand-picked diamonds in all shapes and sizes, from a half carat to 20 carats. And case after case of earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets. It's like shopping 30 stores at once. Plus, Diamonds Direct has all the designer rings women want. Names like Verragio, Henry Dawsey, and dozens more. If you're getting engaged or thinking jewelry for any occasion, your timing is perfect. A real direct diamond importer has finally arrived in Milwaukee with values you never thought possible. Discover the jewelry shopping concept that's sweeping across America. Now open here on Mayfair Road in front of Mayfair Mall. Learn more and get details at diamondsdirect.com.
When you're due for tire service, visit richlawns.com for the location nearest you.
We'll give you a free flat tire repair on every tire we install. No questions asked. I'm Brett Matchke with Rich Lawns. You're due for service.
Rich Lawns. Hey, Sandy Max here. Have you heard about my friends at Three Pillars? They're located on 300 gorgeous nature-soaked acres in Dousman, with over 10 miles of walking and biking trails crisscrossing the Bark River. This serene setting is also home to Wisconsin's top-rated continuing care retirement community. Continuing care means every facet: independent living, assisted living, skilled nursing, and rehab. So whatever you need, Three Pillars is the best, and you deserve the best in your retirement. Learn more at threepillars.org.
Thinking about remodeling your bath or shower? Well, turn to Kohler Services, a local end-to-end bath and shower design and remodel service. Family owned for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer, offering fast, professional installation and care for life. You can start enjoying your new bath or shower right now with a special offer. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote with installation always included. Again, KohlerServicesWI.com.
This is Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
All right. Well, maybe this will rethink my decision about riding the hop. They have just this, if you're looking for something to do, Holidays on the Hop is returning to downtown Milwaukee this December, 3 consecutive Saturdays from 3 to 5 p.m. If you get on the hop, they will have live music. Let's see. For example, Saturday, December 2nd from 3 to 5 p.m., the J.L. Russell Jazz Trio will be serenading you as you ride that 2.1-mile loop. There's a different performer on the 9th from 3 to 5 p.m., and the Milwaukee Choristers will be singing from 3 to 5 p.m. on Saturday, December 16th. In addition, here's the real selling point, Aaron, producing the show today and always. On those days, if you get on the hop, not only are they going to have the music, the people that are going to be singing there, but they're also going to give you a free cookie. You get a free cookie, courtesy of the Baird Center and Levi Restaurant. So, Holidays on the Hop. If you're looking for something to do from 3 to 5 p.m. on Saturday, December 2nd, the 9th, or the 16th, you want a free cookie and you want to listen to some music as you're riding the hop, well, okay, I'm going to suggest that. But matter of fact, I have to be downtown. I've got something going on Saturday, December 16th. So I have to be. I'm actually going to be right around 5 o'clock. I'm going to be somewhere where the hop actually does run. So maybe I'll go for that free cookie and I'll jump on the hop, or maybe not. Back with much more in just a minute, including guess whose birthday is today and a choo-choo to Green Bay. We'll discuss all that. Stick around.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
Congratulations to our very own Jeff Wagner, retiring after 25 years on WTMJ.
No show lasts forever. I'm going to be retiring from WTMJ at the end of this year.
But he's not done yet.
Congrats early on your retirement.
Well, I'm around for another 2 months. Can't get rid of me before December 15th.
Keep tuning in and don't miss out on our send-off to the one and only Jeff Wagner. We are Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio 620 WTMJ.
I am a leg man.
Like the legs on the Benoit dining room table at Penny Mustard.
Ooh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Customize your Benoit table with your choice of wood, stain,
size, shape,
edge, apron.
And don't forget about the legs.
These legs are made in the USA.
Yeah, the tables are too.
The Benoit table, starting at just $78 a month, with only 1 penny down and no interest till November of 2025 through November 26th at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
The holiday season is right around the corner.
Give the gift that's hard to wrap, but easy to give. Give them a STIHL. Visit your local STIHL dealer or go to stihlusa.com/gift guide.
Get your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval to buy at accunet.com.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scafidi for Omaha Steaks. It's that time of year. Fall is in the air, and that means we're looking forward to crisp mornings, falling leaves, and sweater weather. But more importantly, it's the perfect time for fall grilling, tailgating, and cozy comfort food. Omaha Steaks has all your fall cravings covered with 50% off site-wide during their semi-annual sale. That's 50% of all your favorite tender, juicy, extra-aged steaks, like their butcher's cut filet mignons. Go to omahasteaks.com today. Use promo code WTMJ at checkout. Get an extra $30 off your order. The possibilities are endless with Omaha Steaks. Endless flavor, endless value, incredible entrees, scrumptious sides, decadent desserts, and so much more. All 50% off during the semi-annual sale. Every bite's backed by their 100% unconditional guarantee. Go to omahasteaks.com. Shop all your delicious favorites for half the price. Enter promo code WTMJ at checkout for an extra $30 off. Hurry, this sale is for a limited time. Minimum order may be required.
According to the U.S. debt clock, our debt is over $32 trillion and climbing. The question is, how do we pay it off? One of the most likely answers is increasing taxes. Now think about your retirement accounts. Do you want to pay taxes on some of that money now when rates are historically low, or later when rates are potentially higher? At Drake & Associates, we can help you create a plan so your retirement is tax efficient as possible. If you'd like to continue your education, we have our Retirement Ready Toolkit, which includes guides on retirement tax savings. To receive this complimentary toolkit, call or text TAX to 414-409-9982. That's calling or texting TAX to 414-409-9982. When taxes go up, will you be ready? Call or text now.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through a separate company, Loft Financial Advisory Group, LLC, a Wisconsin insurance agency. Clients are under no obligation to purchase any recommended insurance products.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Sit down. Okay, you know you're a United States Senator.
Active. Washington is filled with some real wizards, all right.
Puts it on the floor, spins down the lane, and plunges it through once again.
All right. The basketball team. It's the Bucks and the Wizards, with our coverage of the game starting tonight at 5:30 on your home of the Milwaukee Bucks, News Radio 620, WTMJ Milwaukee.
Good afternoon, 2:01. We have cloudy skies, 45 degrees. It's going to be cloudy, breezy, rain likely tonight with an overnight low of 40. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. Shots were fired, causing hours of delays in Waukesha County this morning.
94 eastbound closed for 2 hours as a number of law enforcement agencies investigated a shooting near Moreland Road. The Waukesha County Sheriff's Office says that just after 6:30 this morning, they received a call from a driver. That caller saying somebody pointed a gun at them and fired a single shot, hitting their vehicle. No injuries reported from the incident. It's not confirmed whether the shot was from another vehicle, and no motive for the shooting has been released. Wyatt Barmore-Pooley, WTMJ News.
An investigation underway after a 9-year-old girl was killed and an elderly woman in critical condition after a fire on Milwaukee's northwest side. A resident of the apartment tells TMJ4 News.
It's like a family around here. No Thanksgiving dinner, no Christmas, and now they're all displaced. And that, it kind of chokes you up.
Fire Chief Aaron Lipsky says crews encountered hoarding conditions which initially hampered their ability to fight the fire. The blaze was one of 3 that fire crews battled in an hour-and-a-half span on Sunday. Retailer Dollar General agrees to pay more than $800,000 to the state after overcharging Wisconsin consumers for items on store shelves. A price verification check of Dollar Generals across Wisconsin earlier this year revealed over 600 items were more expensive than officially listed, on average 17% higher. In a statement, Dollar General says they've made changes to prevent future violations, including internal price accuracy checks at every store in Wisconsin at least once every 45 days. Civil rights groups are alarmed by an appeals court ruling that restricts their ability to sue under the Voting Rights Act. ABC's Stephen Portnoy has that story.
When cases are brought alleging redistricting along racial lines or discriminatory voting practices, they're very often brought by individuals or civil rights groups. But this ruling from the Eighth Circuit says there's nothing in the Voting Rights Act of 1965 that allows for a private right of action, that there's no right for an individual or group to sue under the law. If this ruling is upheld by the Supreme Court, only the Justice Department would have standing going forward.
A new poll gives former President Donald Trump a slight lead over President Biden in the race for the White House. The Harvard Capps Harris poll shows Trump receiving 48% support compared to Biden's 41%. Recent polls have shown Trump outperforming Biden in a handful of critical battleground states. President Biden pardoned 2 turkeys today in the annual Thanksgiving tradition at the White House.
This is the 76th anniversary of this event. And I want you to know I wasn't there in the first one. I was too young to make it up.
The turkeys named Liberty and Bell were sent to a farm and not the dinner table. Today, by the way, is President Biden's 81st birthday. Watch for the Greendale High School Marching Band on Thanksgiving morning. Nearly 200 band members already in New York today, preparing for the Macy's Parade.
Drumline, who's the heart and soul of the band?
We are, yeah!
But you'll be dazzled by the dancers and the color guard as they perform music from The Lion King. Color guard head Tammy Reifenberg says they have to be ready for any weather, even rain.
We're bringing practice flags, so we'll have 2 sets there, so we should be good. And they're really good at spinning in the wet weather, so we'll be all right.
Thanksgiving in the Big Apple now looks sunny with a high of 53 degrees. Vince Vitrano, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money. In the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update, the Dow is up 251 points right now at 35,198. S&P 500 up 39, and the Nasdaq Composite is up 171. It's time for the Annex Wealth Management Tax Smart Planning Review. They'll review, assess, and provide strategies you can use. Go to annexwealth.com/taxsmart. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 2:05.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. When we learned about dangerous radon levels in our home, protecting our family became priority number 1. We called Lifetime Radon Solutions, a local family-owned company we knew we could trust. Lifetime has certified technicians with first-class training and years of experience. They were in and out, installing a mitigation system in less than a day. Call my friends at Lifetime Radon today for a free home test. Lifetime Radon took care of our family. They'll do the same for you. Why risk it? Call Lifetime Radon Solutions today. LifetimeRadon.com.
Hi, it's Samantha, and I want you to feast your ears on this Heiser Toyota deal. Get $1,000 in APR TSF bonus cash on 2023 and 2024 Toyota Tundras. Plus, we have 2023 Toyota 4Runners on lot and ready to go. So don't wait. These deals are being gobbled up as we speak. Stop in or shop online at HeiserToyota.com to see all our monthly specials. Because at Heiser, today's your day.
Valid on 23-24 Toyota Tundra gas vehicles, model specific. Must qualify for financing, tax title, and $399 service fees extra ends 11/30/23.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Our production department really kicked it into gear this season, and we finished before we thought we would. And we'd like to keep our people working until the snow flies, so we're going to offer a discount. Now, a lot of discounts you hear about, they're just off an already inflated rate that ends up right in the same slot as everybody else. In this case, because we're past our break-even point, we can offer a real discount. And here it is. We can afford to take 10% off your roofing project if you call and sign up before the end of the year. If we can't get to it because the weather turns south on us, we'll still hold your price for next year. And this isn't some fugazi discount. It's 10% off what our pricing would normally be. It's for roofs only, and it expires at the end of the year. So take advantage of a nice discount on top quality workmanship from good people who care. We're Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Jordan Love threw for 322 yards, including a 24-yard touchdown in the final minutes of the game to give the Green Bay Packers a 23-20 victory over the LA Chargers on Sunday afternoon.
Love, Watson, open, Watson, got it! Touchdown, Packers!
Next up for the Pack is a Thanksgiving matchup in Detroit against the Lions on Thursday. Over to the NBA, where the 9-4 Milwaukee Bucks have won 4 straight games and are back to work tonight in Washington following their Saturday night win over the Dallas Mavericks. The Bucks tipping off against the Wizards tonight. That's all set for 6 p.m. And lastly, to college hoops around the state, where the number 4 ranked team, the Marquette Golden Eagles, will tip off for their first game of the Maui Invitational tonight against UCLA. Tip-off time is set for 10:30. You can tune in to 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, beginning at 10 for full coverage. And the Badgers will get their Fort Myers college tip-off underway with a 5 p.m. tip-off against Virginia tonight. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at your roads now with your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Right now, I-94 eastbound from the Zoo interchange into downtown. Just some slight delays. The right shoulder is blocked due to a crash, but again, it's just on the shoulder. No lane that is blocked there. Also, we do have a little bit of slowing. I-43 southbound from Brown Deer Road to downtown. There is some construction work going on in that area. That's about a 14-minute drive this afternoon.
Traffic is sponsored by TaybackAttorneys.com. Hurt at work? Call Tayback for the payback. An injury at work may leave you eligible for compensation benefits, including lost wages, coverage of medical bills, or a cash settlement. Call Tayback for the payback. TaybackAttorneys.com.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Cloudy, breezy tonight with rain likely, a low of 40. Rain early tomorrow, maybe mixed with snow, and a high of 44. Mostly sunny and 47 Wednesday. Thanksgiving Day, sunshine and 46. Sunny and cool on Friday with a high of 40. Madison's at 45. Green Bay 45. Milwaukee 46 degrees. I'm Connie Weber. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 2:09.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue, it's the Jeff Wagner Show. Now, here's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Welcome to the show. Well, somebody has a birthday today. A famous person has a birthday today. You know who that famous person is? All right. No. We'll talk about his in just a minute. Famous person has a birthday. Okay, so both Aaron and Sam are producing it for the moment. And this is, again, one of my age tests. Bo Derek. Do either one of you know who Bo Derek is? They are shaking their... My two 20-something-year-old producers are shaking their heads like the little bobbleheads that are on the front of your car as you're bouncing down a Milwaukee road. No, they have no clue who Bo Derek is. Bo Derek. Yep, Bo Derek, she's like 67 today. Her birthday is 1956. So, November 20th, 1956. Bo Derek became famous. The movie that made her famous was the movie 10, which came out in 1979 when she was 23 years old. And she was generally viewed as the most beautiful woman in the world. And 10 was a movie with Julie Andrews and Dudley Moore, and he just became fixated with Bo Derek. So Bo Derek, it's her birthday today. Bo Derek turns, again, 67 years old. And again, if you were around that time, you guys should Google Bo Derek. And just the other interesting thing about Bo Derek is her married name. I remember this was the big story at the time. Okay, so her husband, John Derek, who was 30 years older than her, John Derek, before marrying Bo Derek, John Derek was married to Linda Evans. And Linda Evans was, I think a lot of people viewed her as one of the most beautiful women in the world as well. She was on The Big Valley, and then later on, Linda Evans was on Dynasty and stuff. And their marriage broke up, and he found Bo Derek. So these spectacular. John Derek had something that attracted these beautiful young women to him. Just amazing. John Derek died in 1998, but that was this kind of amazing story. But yes, Bo Derek, again, turned 67 today. So happy birthday to Bo Derek. But that's not who I wanted to talk about. One of our texters says, Jeff, before Linda Evans, he was married to Ursula Andress. That's right. Aaron, you have no idea who Ursula Andress is. Okay, Ursula Andress was a spectacular looking woman. And I mean, these were stunning women. So if you Google Ursula Andress and Linda Evans and Bo Derek, you will just see he was married. He must have had something. I don't exactly know, but he attracted all this incredibly beautiful women. Yeah, Ursula Andress was an actress as well. So You take your hat off to him. He attracted them. He attracted beautiful. I attract beautiful women too, though. Absolutely. There's no question about it. I got a beautiful wife. Had my first wife who passed away. Beautiful wife as well. Absolutely. I would stack them up with Bo Derek and Ursula Andress and Linda Evans anytime. Hope you're listening, honey. All right, but that's not the birthday that I wanted to talk about. Joe Biden, the President of the United States, turns 81 years old today. 81 years old. Let me share a piece that appeared over the weekend in the Wall Street Journal. Joe Biden turns 81 years old. Running for re-election in his condition is an act of profound selfishness. If President Biden's birthday Monday is anything like his last one, he'll eat a cake quietly with his family and hope nobody else notices. When he turned the big 8-0 last fall, the White House arranged a marriage as a distraction for the press. Mr. Biden's granddaughter was wed on the South Lawn. The timing was not a coincidence, two sources told CNN. Regardless, voters have managed to notice that Mr. Biden is showing his years. 77% of Americans say he's too old for another term, according to an August AP poll, including 69% of Democrats, 74% of independents, and 89% of Republicans. Who says Mr. Biden hasn't united the country? During the 2020 election, concerns about his age were muttered silently, but now they're front and center in his re-election bid. Today, Mr. Biden will be 81. Already, he is struggling on camera and limiting his public schedules. His aides fear he might trip again on TV. Politico reported this week that Biden will not be able to govern and campaign in the manner of previous incumbents. He simply does not have the capacity to do it, and his staff doesn't trust him to even try. Wall Street Journal continues. Why is he asking the public to keep him in the Oval Office until 2029 when he will be 86 years old? If he can't take the rigors of a presidential campaign, why would voters think he can handle 4 more years of a grueling job, which might include being shaken awake in the wee hours to respond to a Chinese invasion of Taiwan? Given Mr. Biden's age and obvious decline, running for re-election is an act of profound selfishness. He has wanted the big desk since at least 1987 when he first ran. Aging people, even if they're not surrounded by yes men, can be the last to notice time's toll, as many can attest after trying to take away Dad's car keys. Mr. Biden wants to run another Wilmington basement campaign, albeit this time from the White House. But the polls are screaming that his weakness could put Donald Trump back into office. Even if Mr. Biden wins, there is a strong chance the country would get President Kamala Harris before the term ends. The White House has tried to laugh away such worries. As the press secretary once memorably put it, 80 is the new 40, didn't you hear? This won't work, especially when Mr. Biden's aides are already whispering to the press that they don't trust him on the campaign trail. His staff and family should put the country before the perks of office. If the reality is that the boss is too old for another term, and if he refuses to hear it, the honorable move is to resign and quit covering him. All right. 855-616-1620. That is the Old National Bank talk and text line. Joe Biden turns 81 today, which means if he runs and is reelected president, he will be 82 years old. It's clear that he is showing signs of slipping. You can argue how severe those signs are, but anybody who has dealt with aging parents or aging grandparents who has aged themselves understands that, generally speaking, as we get older, beyond a certain point, our bodies and minds and eyesight and hearing, we do not age like fine wine. And there can be a precipitous drop-off. The Constitution doesn't have an upper age. We can argue whether it should or not, but voters have a say. 855-616-1620, is Biden too old to be president? And does his age give you a concern, Republican, Independent, or Democrat? 855-616-1620, we discuss.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
There's no better green and gold insider than the man who wore the green and gold himself, Mark Tauscher.
Your best player's out there, and he's not giving you what you need. And then you're looking at what you're doing with the wide receiver, who's supposed to be your number one wideout. You should win this game today if your other guys step up and do their job.
Mark Tauscher is our green and gold insider every Wednesday at 4:15 on Wisconsin's Afternoon News, presented by your Wisconsin Chevy dealers.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus.
If you could spend 1 month anywhere, where would you go?
Easy. I'd go to bed.
I mean, anywhere in the world.
Precisely.
You'd spend the entire month in bed?
Specifically, a new Tempur-Pedic from Hasselus Mattress.
Why?
Because I can take 60 months to pay for it. Through Monday, get 60 months interest-free financing on select Tempur-Pedic mattresses, plus a $300 MasterCard gift card.
60 months. That means...
You can buy a Queen Tempur-Pedic Pro Adapt Hybrid with ease adjustable base for just $74 a month.
And I get a $300 MasterCard gift card.
Free next-day delivery and employee-free showrooms, too.
So I can try and buy...
With no pushy sales guy.
Hang on.
What are you doing?
Searching for a travel agent to book a month-long vacation at Hasselus Mattress.
Enjoy 60 months interest-free financing on select Tempur-Pedics through Monday at Hasselus Mattress. Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you or shop online at hasselus.com.
Hi folks, this is Hank Albert, owner of BBC Lighting. As the largest lighting supplier to new home builders and decorators in Wisconsin, our huge showroom displays all the finest brands of lighting and ceiling fans, including such top brands as Visual Comfort, Tech, and many more. And our expert staff will assist you in making the right selections. Our prices are always the lowest. I guarantee it. If it's lampshades or repairs you need, we do all that too. There's something for everyone at BBC, including fun for the kids and our famous free popcorn. BBC is open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 and on Saturday from 10 to 4. We're located at 20th and St. Paul Avenue, across from Sobelman's and Bachman Furniture, all near the Potawatomi Casino. Stay safe and healthy, my friends.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
One of our texters points out that Ursula Andress, John Derek's first wife, and got onto this because it's Bo Derek's birthday today. Ursula Andress, John Derek's first wife, she was in Dr. No. She was the Bond girl, the first Bond girl in Dr. No, the original one. And then he went on to marry Linda Evans and then Bo Derek. I'm telling you that he had something. Okay, now let me give you some perspective. Joe Biden turns 81 today, which means he was born in 1942, November of 1942. What was happening in November of 14 or not happening? TV had not been invented yet. Radio was a relatively new phenomena. I mean, radio really first came to prominence in the late 1920s, the early 1930s. So radio as an institution was one of those newfangled things. Forget about the internet. Forget about all this other stuff. I mean, we didn't even have television then. November of 1942, the United States was still, our involvement in World War II had been going on for about a year. That gives you the perspective of the generation that Joe Biden is from. Look, I am closer to 81 than I am to 41. That is the reality. But I will tell you, I don't care whether it's Biden. I don't care whether, it's the Republican version of Biden or whatever. 81 years old, in my opinion, is too old to serve as the president of the United States. I think it is disqualifying, and I do agree with the Wall Street Journal. I think it is an article of incredible selfishness for somebody to decide that I am the only person that can, be the leader of the free world. And by the way, I don't want to give up the perks of riding on Air Force One or whatever. Also, particularly troubling is the fact that, like I said earlier, for any of us who have ever dealt with, again, aging grandparents or aging parents or maybe ourselves, you know that a lot of times, sometimes it's a slow decline. A lot of times you go off a cliff. And that's, he's 81 years old. He's been the president of the United States. He's been a United States senator. He's been the vice president of the United States. He has earned a dignified retirement. But isn't it time for him to retire? And Democrats, this latest poll, 70% of Democrats have concern about this. I think Democrats are making a huge mistake by saying, okay, we're going to saddle ourselves. We're going to ride this Joe Biden horse because if I'm right and it becomes some other candidate other than Trump, age will be a huge issue. 855-616 888-866-1620. Let's start with Jeremy in Racine. Jeremy, you're first. Hello.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. He is definitely too old now, let alone try to go for another term. It concerns me when you have somebody at that age in the office that he's in. You don't want to go down a rabbit hole and thinking, okay, who's really calling the shots here? Does he have the cognitive ability to deal with everyday situations internationally, for geopolitics to domestic politics and stuff, economics? I can't see him doing it. And the last thing we need is a shadow government running the show and just using Biden as a prop, to talk. That's it. That's all he's there for.
Well, and keep in mind, Jeremy, like in corporate America, I mean, many, if not all, not all, but many law firms, many corporations, there's an up or out. It's 65 or maybe it's 70, but after that, it's like, okay, it's time, you've got to leave, and you've got to make way for the younger generation or whatever. I mean, if it's good enough for a big law firm at 65, you would think that for the American people at the age of 81, they would say, and by the way, lest we make this about politics, Trump is 77. I think that's too old as well, to be truthful with you.
I agree.
Yeah, no, thanks.
I agree. And the thing is,
go ahead.
Obama came into office, and he looked like a young, sprite man. When he left, he had gray hair, and he was raging.
Hey, no.
Was burned out.
No, thanks for calling, Jeremy. It ages everybody, with the exception of Ronald Reagan. I mean, if you look at the pictures of Nixon in 68, Nixon when he left in 74. You look at the pictures of Lyndon Johnson when he took over after President Kennedy's assassination in 1963 and when he left in 68. This job ages people. There's no question about it. You look at George W. It is, and you understand why it ages people. It is an incredibly demanding, stress-filled job. And I mean, I don't know what exactly the magic age is, but you can clearly tell Joe Biden is slipping. I mean, there's just no question about it. And I understand that. He's 81 years old. And maybe you say, hey, for an 81-year-old, he's great. All right, my guess is, for everybody out there who is in their mid-70s or older, if you said, hey, are you relatively healthy? Yeah. But you would admit that there's been a degree of cognitive decline. You don't remember stuff. You're not quite as sharp as you were when you were in your 50s or your 40s or whatever. And I have a lot of friends right now who are in their 60s and 70s, and almost every one of them would say, I just don't think I'm up to being president of the United States. Jeff, if Trump or DeSantis is a nominee, I'll vote for Biden, even if he's comatose and on life support. Jeff, I think many listeners are falling into the false assumption that people in their 80s can't continue to do their jobs. I don't think that that's a false assumption. And again, it depends on what the job is. We're talking about the president of the United States. I'm not talking about whether somebody in their into their 80s can. I don't know. Can you be a ticket taker at American Family Field? Yes. Can you be a productive real estate developer? Yeah, okay. I mean, I understand that. But even people, by the time people have reached their 80s, most people are dialing it back. I mean, even though I know people who worked well into their 80s, they were starting to take more time off. They were starting to delegate more things because these jobs are incredibly stressful. And yes, maybe Joe Biden could be the Superman, but at the same time, what is the potential life expectancy that's out there? Jeff, in Bidenomics, he can't afford to retire. Yes, Jeff, Woodrow Wilson had his wife run the White House after his stroke. Jeff, there's no way anyone who watches or listens to Biden for a minute or two would honestly say he's fit for office. Well, I don't know. There's no question. Jeff, Trump has earned every bit of the charges of narcissism against him, to be sure. But how much of a narcissist must Joe Biden be to not step aside for a more capable candidate to be the leader of the free world? Are we nuts to let this happen? Well, I think that there is an element. Jeff, I'm an independent voter, 73 years old. I feel both Biden and Trump are too old to be running. I'd like to see a mandatory retirement age for all politicians. I would also like to believe that most voters would like younger, more moderate candidates to run on both sides. Jeff, I'm a liberal. Biden is just too old. Yeah. Let's talk to Mike on the Northwest side. Mike, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, Jeff. Hey, I think that there's two guys that are egotistical maniacs that want to run for president. Out of 310 million people in the U.S., these are the two guys that we have. The world's got to be laughing at us. I think that they should both go. Trump might be in jail, maybe not. Biden should be looking for assisted living someplace.
Well,
and we need younger people. It's just nuts.
Well,
I don't get it.
Mike, I don't either. And I guess from the perspective of, okay, it's not my side of the aisle, but if I'm a Democrat, and you look at these poll numbers, and I think there's many reasons why Biden has just been grossly underwater in these polls, but part of it I think is this concern that most reasonable people have about his age. I mean, and this idea that somebody who's 81, where is that next generation of leaders? Can't you find some young 65-year-old whippersnapper, for example, to take over? Because the truth of the matter is, and look, and I understand, and maybe there's some people in their 80s who don't like to hear this, but if you're honest with yourself, okay, the skills atrophy. That's just the reality. I'm in my 60s. I don't see as well as I did in my 40s. That's just one of the things that ends up happening. And there is going to be an inevitable cognitive decline. And that's just the reality of this. Is there nobody else that can be a Democrat running for president who might be younger, more vigorous, male or female? 855-616-1620. John on the north side. John, you're on WTMJ.
Hi, I'm John. I love Biden, but he's too old. But so is Trump too old, and I really don't think that's the point of what most of these people's calling in. They're not concerned about Biden too old. They're more concerned about Kamala Harris being in if he can't make it. They're more interested in that than they are about anything. I mean, that's just the way I feel. I feel like they don't want Kamala, and if Biden get in there, anybody but her, they would give her a little more break. But they don't want her in there. Well, I can understand it, But tell the truth. No, don't just say, well, the guy's too old and don't put nothing behind it. You put that behind it. We don't want Kamala. That's what's happening. And we're going to blame it on the age thing. Of course, he's old. He's falling, upstairs and stuff. We all see that. I don't want him to hurt himself. I don't want him to be president, but I don't want Trump to be president either.
Exactly.
And the other guys that got over there.
Right, John. Well, thanks. Look, my hope is that, and I'm on record as saying this. So, I mean, there's no question about it. I still do not believe the choice in 2024 is going to be either Biden or Trump. And I understand people roll their eyes and think that's not going to happen. I collectively think Republican and Democrat voters are going to come to their senses and realize for a variety of reasons why neither one of those should be the nominee. But you need to kind of get past this. But 81 years old today, and clearly Joe Biden is slipping. Now, I have some people, I just love Biden. He's been the greatest president ever. Well, I don't know what you've been watching or what you've been smoking over the course of the last few years, but I mean, I believe it's a failed presidency in many different regards. But let's put that aside. I mean, 81 years old, I mean, doesn't that give people cause for concern? Have you never dealt with people as they age? And again, even if you say, well, Jeff, there's only signs of a little bit of decline. Yes, he can't keep up the vigorous schedule, and yes, he starts the day late, and yes, he finishes the day early, and there's not as many nightly events and things like that. Okay, that's now. What's it going to be 2 or 3 years from now? Because, like I say, we do not age like fine wine. I mean, I will tell you, I'm hoping. I am hoping. My wife and I were talking about this. It's like, okay, how many good years do we have left? And let's figure out how we're going to enjoy our time together and stuff. Let's figure this out. But I mean, I will tell you, if I was 81 years old and I'd be having that conversation, I think it would be, how many good years do I have left? It might be months. It might be weeks. Who exactly knows? Yeah, he could live to 100. Jimmy Carter's 99 years old, but did you want Jimmy Carter at the age of 81 to be the leader of the free world? Let's talk to Chris in West Dallas. Chris, you're on WTMJ.
This is my first time calling, but I was telling your screener, I used to work for some publicly traded companies, and to be on the board of directors for a publicly traded company, which has a lot less responsibility than Joe Biden does, there's an age limitation as far as how long they can serve. There's a mandatory retirement age for just about every board of directors for a publicly traded company. Why do we not have that for the U.S.?
I would agree. I mean, if you would need a constitutional amendment, but for me, I think 75 would be the age that I would have. That you could serve after 75, but you couldn't run after 75. So if you're a U.S. senator and you run when you're 74, you could serve till 80. But I think. And it's this need to hang on to power. What does it say about somebody's ego that you have to retain this? I mean, Biden's 81; he'll be 82 next year. Wouldn't you think that you'd want to rest on your laurels and things like that, and look back on all your accomplishments instead of saying, "Hey, I want to continue to try to carry on"? What about a retirement? There's nothing wrong with retirement.
Other groups I've been involved with, you were all set to train your successor. So what does that say about his training for his potential successor?
Thanks, Nicole. Well, that's a very interesting point. We'll take a couple more calls. It's Joe Biden's 81st birthday today. Is that too old? Back with more in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
Looking for a fun family activity to get in the holiday spirit? Visit or volunteer for Capco's Kids to Kids Toy Drive in Grafton on Saturday, December 9th. It's a totally free event. Capco is dedicated to bringing communities together and has collected nearly 300,000 toys through Kids to Kids, and still counting. Join us and WTMJ for a celebration of giving and bring a new unwrapped toy to help children in need this holiday season. To support, visit kidstoKidstoydrive.com.
And don't forget to bring toys.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Do you hear that hissing sound? I think it's the sound of some steam being let out of the fall housing market. As the average 30-year fixed rate has crept toward 8%, some buyers have taken a break. Homes aren't selling on the first weekend anymore. Some are still selling over asking, but fewer and by not as much. Some sellers are even willing to chip in toward buyer closing costs to get their asking price. Now, do you hear that knocking sound? That's opportunity. Opportunity for well-prepared home shoppers. This dip in home buyer demand is not going to last, and mortgage rates are forecast to dip next year. Here's the best part. AccuNet can show you how to use a seller closing cost credit to lower your monthly payment by $100 or maybe even $200 a month for the first year or two while we wait for the refi window of opportunity to open, which we can typically accomplish with no loan costs. It's your choice, fear or opportunity. Click on the blue button today at AccuNet.com and become a confident, opportunistic, rock-solid home shopper. That's ACCUNET.com.
Fleet Farm's got everything you need for everyday life. And by everything, we mean top products by your favorite brands. From Blackstone to Blue Buffalo, Carhartt to Cooper, Milwaukee to Muddy, Scott's to Science Diet, DeWalt, Levi's, Purina, Husqvarna, Goodyear, Rapala, Vortex, and a whole lot more. In-store or online, check out all the brands Fleet Farm carries to help make your everyday life better.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here for Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Now, my knee injury was a lagging problem, and I'm grateful every day for the surgery that put me back in the game thanks to OAW. But if you or one of the young athletes maybe in your house needs orthopedic care right away, you don't have to go to the emergency room. The Ortho ASAP Clinic has hours Monday through Saturday in Pewaukee and Monday through Friday in Brookfield. Walk right in. Now you're in the hands of the experts at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Visit them at orthowisconsin.com.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Some people are texting in saying, well, what about Trump? He's too old, too. Well, if you're a regular listener to this program, you know that while I was not a never Trumper, I'm a never again Trumper. And I guess my age to me is the least of the disqualifying things that are out there with Donald Trump. I mean, that's on the list because I agree 77 I think is probably too old as well. But don't even get me started on that. But Biden is 81. And here's the reality for Democrats out there. He's underwater in the polls. Bidenomics has, I think, kind of been a disaster. But even if you love it, he certainly never sold it to the American people. And if the alternative is, well, I'd vote for Biden over Trump, that's fine. But if I'm right and it turns out that Trump is not the nominee and he's faced with Biden's running against a Nikki Haley or something, that's why in the latest Marquette poll nationally, Haley beats Biden by 10 points. I mean, can you imagine? Can you see that the young, vital Nikki Haley up against Joe Biden in a campaign, given the reality that Joe Biden's not going to be able to run a traditional campaign? Even the aides are acknowledging that. He's not going to be hopscotching the country doing 3 or 4 campaign appearances in a given day. He's just not capable of doing that. One of our texters says, Jeff, I'm 81. I am considered very sharp for my age. There is no way anyone over the age of 72 should even be considered for office. I want to tell you a story. I have a dear friend of mine who passed away about a little over a month ago at the age of 89. And we became friends, about 7 or 8 years ago. I met him through my wife, and his wife was close friends, and we really we bonded. And I mean, I miss Mark to this day. I miss our conversations and stuff. And he was a brilliant man, and he was very accomplished. And he worked up until he had some serious health problems in the last couple months. But he was active, and he went into work. But he would be we'd have this conversation. And, he was a Democrat, actually, and we'd have this conversation. And he was saying Biden's too old. He noticed in himself, and this was a guy who was very, very sharp. He just wasn't as vigorous, and he started having more and more health problems that come with age. And it wasn't that he wasn't sharp. It wasn't that he didn't work, but he wasn't able to work. But he recognized that he had to kind of dial it back, because that is the effect of age. And I think back on my friend Mark and how sharp he was. But even he acknowledged that, hey, he said there's no way I would consider running for president. It's time when if you want to be vital, you want to still continue to contribute, but there's all sorts of ways that you can contribute without, like I say, trying to be the leader of the free world. I just think it is the height of arrogance to assume that you are the only person that can do this. And in the case of Joe Biden, I don't know how Biden-Trump turns out. I don't know if it's Biden redo Trump, and if it's Biden-Trump redo, whether, how that works out or whatever. But I do know if it's somebody other than Donald Trump with the baggage that Trump brings into the race, Biden's going to get crushed, because people have major concerns about this. Does that mean he's going to back off? No. What might end up happening is if again, the polls and the numbers continue to show that he has no realistic chance of winning, people will presumably sit him down and have this conversation, and you might see some changes made. But whether it's Trump at 77 or Biden at 81, they're just too old, period. So happy birthday, President Biden. Enjoy the birthday cake. Enjoy a nice birthday dinner. But, maybe it's time to say, okay, time to exit stage left and let one of those 65-year-old whippersnappers take the position. Back with much more in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this on WTMJ.
Looking for a fun family activity to get in the holiday spirit?
Visit or volunteer for Capco's Kids to Kids Toy Drive in Grafton on Saturday, December 9th.
It's a totally free event. Capco is dedicated to bringing communities together and has collected nearly 300,000 toys through Kids to Kids.
Join us in WTMJ for a celebration of giving and bring a new unwrapped toy to help children in need this holiday season.
To support, visit kidstokidstoydrive.com.
And don't forget to bring toys.
Hi, it's Samantha with Heiser. This month is all about appreciation and gratitude, and we want to thank you. Thank you so much for allowing Heiser to take care of all of your vehicle needs the past 106 years. Whether it's for sales, service, or collision work, we wouldn't be here without each of you. Visit Heiser.com for all of our monthly specials, and we hope you have an amazing month celebrating what you're thankful for. Because at Heiser, today's your day.
See dealer for complete details.
It's WTMJ's Steve Scafidi for Panoramic CBD. Whether you're looking to reduce anxiety, pain, depression, or just need to relax, Panoramic CBD has the best products for everyone's needs. They farm, process, test, and package their own CBD products, hence the slogan from soil to oil. By overseeing every stage of the process, Panoramic CBD eliminates the middleman, ensuring unmatched quality throughout. To offer you the best CBD products at the best prices for you and your pets. Shop local. Shop Wisconsin. From soil to oil, PanoramicCBD.com.
Give the gift of Harley this holiday season. Whether you're looking for the perfect gift for the motorcycle enthusiast in your life or just treating yourself, don't miss the HD Factory Outlet's Orange and Black Friday weekend sale and rumble in on the Harley-Davidson Museum campus from November 24th through the 26th. Save on discontinued motor clothes, merchandise, and enjoy a special selection of official products. While you're shopping on Friday, sample a variety of rare barrel-aged beers from local and national craft breweries within the HD Museum lobby and experience gallery. Visit hdmuseum.com for a full schedule.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Okay, we're going to save the train story for tomorrow, just because I want to have an opportunity to discuss that in more detail. And got kind of tied up. One of our texters says there's 3 people in the United States Senate right now who are over the age of 81. Bernie Sanders, Mitch McConnell, and a representative, I think, from South Carolina, a Democrat. Look, best example is Dianne Feinstein, the late Dianne Feinstein. It was painful to see her, and she wonderful. Let's put politics aside. A great career, devoted to public service and stuff like that. But it was difficult to watch her deteriorate, and that's just the reality. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the lion of the left. I mean, I think she did a huge disservice certainly to the American left by refusing to step aside at a time when maybe her position could have been filled by a liberal. But I mean, look, I understand. People want to hang on. Nobody wants to be told that, okay, it's time to move on or you're just too old for those things. But sometimes you got to just realize that. And I guess it's the lack, whether it's the hunger for power, the thirst for power, or the lack of self-awareness, I don't know. There's an interesting story in the New York Times, of all places, over the weekend. And I read the New York Times, so you don't have to. But it had to do with home ownership, and I just wanted to offer a couple comments. I have always believed that one of the key elements to the American dream is home ownership. And maybe again this is just my attitude based on being a baby boomer and stuff, and maybe younger generations don't want that. But I mean, traditionally it's been, okay, you buy a house, maybe it's a starter house. Then what happens is your family grows, you sell that house, you buy a bigger house, then you buy a bigger house, and all the while you're getting home equity, and and ultimately for a lot of people, when you end up retiring and stuff, your house ends up being one of your biggest assets that you've accumulated things over the years. And plus I think there's something that comes with home ownership that I think is important from family development, things like that. The problem nowadays is for anybody who's tried to buy a house nowadays, especially like starter homes and stuff, or you're in the starter home and you want to move up, it's not easy, in part because there's not very much on the market. Now, if you're somebody that has a whole boatload of money sitting around and you can afford to pay cash and you don't need mortgages, okay, that's great. That's fine. You're covered. But if you need to take out a mortgage, one of the things that's happened, and this is the point that the New York Times makes, is that the mortgage, a 30-year mortgage, a few years ago, you could get it for 2.5 to 3 percentage points. Now it's 6.5 or 7. And what's happening is there's lots of people that bought homes with 30-year mortgages 4 or 5 years ago or whatever, who are locked in at these really low rates. And they're not selling, because if they were to buy a new house and they had to take out a mortgage, well, they'd have to be paying 6, 7, 8%, whatever the rate is. So they're in this situation where even if they want to sell, they really can't afford to give up what their mortgage is. And so as a result, you don't have inventory that's coming on the market. It's just here's the way the New York Times writes it. Buying a home was hard before the pandemic. Somehow it keeps getting harder. Prices already sky high have gotten even higher, up nearly 40% over the past 3 years. Available homes have gotten scarcer. Listings are down nearly 20% over the same period, and now interest rates have soared to a 20-year high, eroding buying power without doing much to dent prices. Now, look, I understand. When I first bought my house, it was 1988, and we had to take out an adjustable rate mortgage because the 30-year mortgages were like 12 or 13 or whatever it was. It was something stupid like that. But for years, you've got these mortgage rates that are like below 3%, and the people that have them aren't giving them up. So they're not looking to move. So there's nothing on the table for people to buy. I really wonder what's going to happen moving forward. Back with more in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner, WTMJ.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
So I came to Advent because I was experiencing recurrent sinus infections. As a new mom, it was really kind of difficult.
Many of our patients complain of sinus infections. The headaches, fatigue, and nasal stuffiness have a profound effect on their lives.
I just felt like your sickness starts affecting your energy level and, the things that you really enjoy doing. That really was a breaking point for me.
So Molly came to Advent. Abnormally tight sinuses and swollen turbinates led to simple breathing triangle solutions that ended up taking about 20 minutes in office. And very soon thereafter, she was breathing freely.
I'm just in awe at the amount of air that that I'm able to breathe in and out each night, and I haven't had a sinus infection since the procedure.
I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. When you breathe well, you do live better.
Results may vary.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
Our production department really kicked it into gear this season, and we finished before we thought we would. And we'd like to keep our people working until the snow flies, so we're going to offer a discount. Now, a lot of discounts you hear about, they're just off an already inflated rate that ends up right in the same slot as everybody else. In this case, because we're past our break-even point, we can offer a real discount. And here it is. We can afford to take 10% off your roofing project if you call and sign up before the end of the year. If we can't get to it because the weather turns south on us, we'll still hold your price for next year. And this isn't some fugazi discount. It's 10% off what our pricing would normally be. It's for roofs only, and it expires at the end of the year. So take advantage of a nice discount on top quality workmanship from good people who care. We're Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
Kick off your holiday season this year with the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra and one of Santa's most famous magical helpers, Buddy. That's right, Elf in Concert comes to the Bradley Symphony Center November 24th through the 26th, when Yaniv Denur leads the MSO in John Debney's delightful score, as Jon Favreau's hilarious and heartwarming film is projected across the screen. Call the MSO box office for tickets now at 414-291-7605 or visit MSO.org. Santa may come once a year, but an experience like Elf in Concert may only come once in a lifetime. Don't miss this opportunity to experience fun for the whole family when the MSO presents Elf in Concert live with orchestra November 24th through the 26th. Visit MSO.org for tickets or call 414-291-7605.
This is Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Okay, so I've said this before. I don't get the whole Starbucks phenomena. I just never do. I mean, the idea of spending like $6 for like a coffee with milk, I just don't understand it. But that's it. I never tell people how to spend their own money. I just don't get it. So last week you had it was Red Cup Day, and I guess you go into Starbucks and you get like a reusable plastic cup. So what happens is you have these Starbucks baristas who go on strike, creating all this controversy, and they're saying, oh, well, we're too busy, et cetera, and, we need more money and all these type of things. So we're going to walk out in hopes of shutting down stores to protest our bargaining practices over scheduling and staffing. Here is my takeaway on this. And again, I never object to people trying to do whatever they can to make as much money as they want. But being a barista at Starbucks doesn't strike me as being a career. Now, maybe I'm wrong with that. But so if you're a barista at Starbucks, There's all sorts of things that you could probably do. So if they're paying you $14 an hour at Starbucks and you don't like it, go over to Home Depot where they'll pay you $18 an hour to stock shelves or whatever. And I guess I think all these people are outraged and we're going to walk off the jobs. I'm like, wait, if you don't like the job, it's not like there's a shortage of jobs that are around there. And my guess is you can make more money doing all sorts of things with the same skill levels that you being a barista at Starbucks. So they're walking off the jobs. Well, if you think that you're being treated poorly, if you think that this is terrible, I'm just maltreated and all these things, my best advice was just walk off the job permanently. Just say, boss, I'm done. And then Starbucks will either change or they won't. But regardless, you'll be happy. I don't know, stocking the shelves at Menards or Home Depot or Walmart, where you're not going to have to argue with customers who are complaining that they didn't put enough powdered sugar in your latte or whatever. When we come back, John McCure on vacation this week. We'll find out what Greg and Amy Taylor have on their minds for Wisconsin's Afternoon News.
What you need to know on your drive home. Wisconsin's Afternoon News with John McCure.
Mental health is a real thing.